stage, Mike Weisberg.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bits. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. We're going to talk. So we get a fun one today. We're going to have Weisberg come on for the first hour. We're going to talk about last night's action and then maybe some of the teams that, are in a dumpster fire heading into this offseason, or maybe they're not. That'll be the conversation. And then very excited at 1 o'clock, my friend Jeff Cerulli, filmmaker, comedian, also Urban League hooper for City League Sports, not on my team, but because he's still athletic and talented, so he's playing with the real ones. He's going to jump on at 1. He's a diehard Knicks fan who I think I'm excited to get his take on the Tibbs stuff. He's got some funny thoughts. So excited for him to come on at 1 o'clock. So that's going to be the show today. We're going to have a fun one. For the rest of the week, just a heads up, we'll have some smaller videos dropping both on this channel and on the Elite Fantasy Sports channel throughout the week. We'll have a couple of those throughout the week. We'll have another show like this either Wednesday or Thursday, again in like a 2-3 hour block with a couple of guests. We'll have the 89 Cavs. We'll have a lot of fun. And then, of course, you can go catch us over on Playback for Game 3, which will be on Wednesday. And before we bring Weisberg on, let's just really quickly check out. Not a toilet stream for those unaware. We were battling what could only, I think, was food poisoning. On Saturday. Just a true nightmare scenario. I was supposed to have a softball game. We get over to Brooklyn. It only downpoured from 2 to 3 p.m. That was it. It was nice before. It was nice after. Our game was at 2 o'clock. Didn't even think it was going to downpour. So it was just like absolutely rained upon for about an hour. The game was canceled. Make our way back to Astoria. And then within like 45 minutes being back home, was just dead. I don't know what I haven't had that happen to me, honestly, since a trip to Vegas, 15 years ago, 16 years ago now. That's the last time I remember it happening. And I was just on the floor. It was awful. So, but we're back, baby. We are back. Yesterday was a little touch and go, but today, full strength. We even got a run in this morning. So we are officially back. But if it's your first time here, do me a favor, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, hang out. Also, check out the Celtics Daily channel, which is still humming along. But I'm not going to talk about shit anymore as the chat's throwing it in there. The last thing we'll put up from the chat is, happy birthday to Peja and Nikola Jovic. So a good day to celebrate a Jovic, something that ends in itch. So let's bring YC on. Let's go, Mike. What's going on, man? How are we doing?
I'm just happy to see you're healthy. For the chat, it was kind of funny. Mike and I were talking pregame, and he was just like, "I can't go yesterday. I am white as a ghost.
I was planning on it.
Will not look great up here."
Yeah, no, I was planning on it yesterday.
I'm just happy to see you good.
Yeah, the goal was I thought I'd be good to go by nighttime, but it was one of those things it's almost like the hangover from being sick where I was just really tired yesterday. Just had nothing in the tank, both literally and figuratively. But also we should point this out too. Boston Base was saying I upgraded MGM to a nicer room. This is a reminder. We're just about a month and a day outside of Summer League here. So the Summer League is going to be 10th to the 14th for us. If you are on the fence about going, we got a good crew. I believe Mr. Honey Badger, Top Shot Tesla himself is going to be out there. Weisberg is going to be out there. Boston Base, Borland, Jeb, the 89 Cavs, Stubbs is going to be out there. I know the common man will be out
this
there.
Year now.
Who?
TST.
I don't think so. I think relatively new parents, TST, G Dunn, and John Boy. Although John Boy's always good for a last second arrival, so he's probably
John Boy might come in just sky in for a Friday.
Yeah, you could see it happening. One note about Vegas that they mixed up the schedule. Well, not mixed up, but changed up the schedule a little bit this year, where games are starting on Thursday. They don't usually post the schedule until maybe 2 weeks out or so. So we still have a ways to go before we know what the schedule looked like. But yeah, I was pretty surprised by the Thursday night start, right? Oh, is John Warren? Let's go. This is what I'm talking about. Let's get him out there.
Let's go.
Badge Bros bit crossover, man. We need it. But anyways, if you guys have questions about that, get in the Discord, and we'll be. Most of us are staying at the MGM Grand. Stay wherever you want, though. It's all relative.
I got some buddies flying in on Friday just for the day.
There we
Give you
go.
like
Yeah.
24 hours in Vegas.
Yeah, we got games on Friday, Cabana on Saturday, maybe a WNBA game on Saturday. Actually, the Aces are home Saturday afternoon. I think it's a 4 p.m. start. I think it's the Aces Valkyrie, maybe. Who the Valkyrie just beat the piss out of the Aces. I don't know if anybody
They
paid.
beat them by like 30 the other night.
It was nuts. But anyway,
And I don't know if you saw the Becky Hammond quotes post game.
yes, really good. All right, we can't start with the W though. I don't think after to the NBA Finals. I can already hear the same people tweeting about LA, starting to tweet about that. Let's do some game 2, huh? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'll just start with the thing that was going around last night, and then we can get into the game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, through 2 games, has scored 72 points. That is the most points ever by a player in his first 2 career NBA Finals game. Surpassing Allen Iverson by 1 point. I also saw a crazy stat that playing 16 or more postseason games, Shai's on pace to be the 3rd player ever to average. It's like over 30 points, over blank assists, and over 1.5 steals per game. This is No Dunks dropped this stat this morning. The other 2 guys were Jordan and LeBron. That was it. It's pretty wild.
Company.
Yeah, pretty wild.
You know?
I know you were on
just first ballot all time top 5 guys, you know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, top 3 guys. Let's get the Kobe shit out of there.
Yeah,
come on, let's stop it. So you were on playback with a bunch of people last night. I saw a bunch of different guests pop up, which was cool. I don't know what was kind of your takeaway from game 2 and OKC's response.
I mean, you have to start with SGA. You know, you look at the box score doesn't fully show how in command of his game he was. Like true MVP stuff. You know, he ended up with 34, 8 and 4 on 11 of 21 shooting. Got to the line 12 times, made 11. Had a block and 4 steals, Mike.
Yeah.
4 steals.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of everything.
And it wasn't just that the scoring, because look, SGA can get 30 in his sleep. And by the way, for the bettors out there, you know what SGA's line was last night for points? 33.5.
Yeah.
So for those of you who took the under on that, nice call. You know, you just barely got there. Probably a little nervous,
squeaked it in.
Got there. You know, probably real nervous down the stretch. Pretty happy that the game ended up a blowout the way that it was. And then the other part of this to me is I thought Chet and iHeart lineups were pretty important to this one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mark Dagnall took a ton of shit for making a lineup change before game 1, starting Case and Wallace in the starting lineup. Went away from Chet the second half of game 1, basically.
Yep.
And Chet bounces back, has 15, 6, and 1 with a block. A lot of that scoring in the first quarter, frankly, but was pretty dominant defensively. And then iHeart doesn't score a ton, but he's plus 17 in his minutes, 8 boards, 4 assists. Had that nasty, like big to big alley-oop.
Yeah,
I think
that was
the
nice.
third quarter. And I thought that was a real game changer in terms of defensive spacing. It sort of took the Pacers in a weird spot because a lot of their offensive actions were premised on the idea of only having one big in there and basically using Pascal Siakam in a switch against a smaller big, like a 3 or 4. And I thought that really changed some of the dynamics there. Otherwise, I'll just say this for the Pacers. I know Tyrese Halliburton's line is going to look great. He ends up with 17, 6 and 3, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He had 5 points entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And
good.
So real quick, Mike, let me just finish with the Hallie point. Like my thing with Hallie is oftentimes he is making the right play. And, you know, you have a couple weird things happen where Miles Turner missed a lot of open threes. He was 1 of 5. Siakam's 1 of 4. Nembhard's 1 of 4. So when 3 of your best 3-point shooters don't shoot well, you're going to have some problems there. That said, like he just needs to be more aggressive. Straight up.
Yeah. I mean,
and he got there late, but it just wasn't good enough.
I'm not saying one that you're wrong or that you're doing this. I do think sometimes that yes, sure Halliburton should be more aggressive. OKC is playing insane defense, right?
This is true.
And this is what they did in game 1.
Great defense.
Right. And this is what they did in game 1 too. And like it was just everybody else on the Pacers hit some more shots, and then he hit one shot, at the end of the game. And because you know what, 14 points doesn't look great either on the stat line, and that's what he
Sure.
had in game 1. So I just think the more credit should be put on. I know that's boring content, but I like after the difference to me. After like game 1, we're like, holy hell, this is the best thing we've ever seen. In game 2, being like, this team is fucked. And like, I just think their defense was insane. I think OKC, the way that they throw Dort, Caruso, and Wallace at him. And I mean, like, some other people have pointed this out too. But it reminds me of like Chris Paul against the Warriors way back when, where CP3 would be like, listen, we're going to start this game and I'm going to slap the shit out of you guys. And if the refs don't call it, we're going to just you're going to have to call 4 fouls on me in the first 5 minutes if that's what you're going to do, because I'm going to be this aggressive. That is what OKC is doing. I mean, Dort's got hands on him from tip to taint, we'll say, from the second the game tips off. Dort's got hands all over him. So, I mean, yeah, I do think I would like to see him do what he did in the fourth quarter, in the second quarter, like push it a little bit more. But to me, this was more of OKC lost game 1 at home when they are 9.5-point favorites. And they're like, we are not going to do that again. And I know, I'm not pushing back on the fact that they were playing bigs more, because I do think that is important. It was good to see that they went to Kenrich Williams, who they didn't really go to at all in game 1.
That was
that
was an important substitution for sure.
Yeah, and it was just 7 minutes, but I thought it was like a good 7 or 9. I can't remember, for 7 or 9. But I also because I know he was getting hammered for the lineup switch. Like, they were also really good in game 1 until the second half of the third quarter, the fourth quarter too. You know what I mean? Like, so this really, if you break it down, OKC's kind of dominated the first 2 games outside of, 14 minutes. And I think that was to be expected. And I'm not like, if I'm Indy, I'm probably not freaking out. Like, if the games were reversed, right, where they lost game 1 pretty handily and then they win game 2 on the buzzer beater, like, vibes would be through the roof, right? Heading back to game 3, that should still be the same. Like, they took a game from OKC in OKC, right? Like, they should feel like they're in a decent spot. Like, you couldn't ask for anything better, right?
Yeah. I mean, you did your job, right?
Yeah.
The point as an away team, particularly, by the way, when you're a pretty heavy underdog, you still won the first 2 games. And
Right.
then you go back home and see what you can do. And
Right.
that crowd in India is going to be raucous. They're going to be getting after it. And, I do think Indy has some role players who, just didn't play particularly well yesterday. You get 14 from Mathurin, which is okay. A lot of that was like late third quarter, fourth quarter. And my thing with Mathurin is, like, he's definitely someone who is the kind of guy who will play better at home. He's like that kind of role player. You get 11 from TJ McConnell, but nothing elsewhere, basically, from your bench.
And I mean, you got 38 from Caruso and Aaron Wiggins. And shout out to Aaron Wiggins. I love his game. I thought he was so not necessarily. I mean, maybe he was efficient. I don't have that in front of me. I thought he was making like decisions very quickly today, which I really liked. Last night, I thought he was just kind of. There was one possession where he missed a 3. They got the rebound. It kicked back around to him, like after one pass, and he fired it back up. And as that was going, I know I've talked about this before, but I think my rule, if I was a coach, is if you take 2 of those back to back like that and you miss the second one, you have to come out of the game. Like, if you take another one right after
you take that heat check jumper,
board and it's going back up, you got to come out. And he knocked that one down.
Well, and the other thing about that shot is it was a sidestep.
Yeah.
Step back 3.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those threes that, like, you only take if you're feeling real good.
Yeah, rhythms were good.
Every hooper has been there where you take a shot and you're like, I just think this is going in. Like, I just know it. I feel it in my bones. Sometimes you shoot a jumper and you'll be like, I don't know. No, Wiggins shot that with full 100% confidence after he badly missed a 3.
He was great. So for that stat line, he finished with 18, I think it was, right? And he went 5 for 8 from 3. But I mean, the rebounding was better, right? They got out rebounded like grossly in game 1, and this one they out rebounded them 43-35. The assists were pretty close and clean, and then the Pacers had 15 turnovers to OKC's 13. But But I mean, OKC was just like in control from the start of the game, which I thought was good. And like, even though Jalen Williams' numbers aren't gonna like blow you away, where it was at 19-5, at 19-5, I think, on 5 for 14 shooting, and only 1 for 5 from 3. He looks like comfortable, like it didn't seem like anybody was really forcing it. I know there was a lot, like you guys were talking about a lot in the first quarter where there was some just like sloppiness back and forth. I like the decision making of the offense in OKC throughout that game. I thought they seemed comfortable.
They knew what they wanted to get to.
Yeah,
I think was the most important thing. Like they felt like they had this defense a little figured out, and offensively, their game flow. A lot of like, all right, SGA, we're gonna take that high screen, and then SGA is just going to attack, and we'll kind of create motion off that.
I mean, splitting that double over and over again was killing him. I mean, that's because then it was 4-on-3, and there was just like, what are you going to do, man? Like, there was that one where he finds J-Dub in the corner for an easy 3, the only one that J-Dub hit, and it's just like if you're gonna throw 2 at him like that, he can't split you. Like, make him at least pass it up top. Like, he can't split the double.
One concern I do have for the Thunder is they're giving up a ton of corner threes, man. Like,
early on, that's the only reason the Pacers were staying in early.
I'm just looking over the play-by-play real quick, and I'm just gonna do it here. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 made corner threes last night for the Pacers, and like, I know some of the Thunder's defensive strategy is like they're not okay giving up corner threes, but like if they're going to pressure you for the full 24 seconds and you get to a corner 3, they're kind of okay with it.
Right.
It's very different than say what the Celtics did last year, where the Celtics are like, we'll give everything up above the break, anything in the corners we won't give up.
Yeah.
And that's just a function of like different defensive philosophies. For the Thunder, we're going to do pretty high intense ball pressure. And if you're able to get there, cool. You're going to take it with like 2 or 3 seconds left on the shot clock. But that said, the Pacers have been dominated pretty thoroughly despite winning that first game.
Yeah, and like you were saying, I mean, those if you're gonna earn the corner 3 and it's late in the shot clock or whatever, that's one thing. But I think like the Pacers, what they would like to be doing is Hallie being able to get by that first guy so then he can kick to the corner, and you're not seeing that. Like, that play has not been happening. One thing that I thought that the Pacers were doing pretty, like, they got a couple of good looks this way, and they didn't really go to it again. And I don't know if they were trying to get Halliburton going or what. I thought Nembhard was like the only one that was breaking down breaking down, put that in quotes, because I still think the Thunder were defending him so well. He seemed like he could get going downhill a little bit. And that second half, when they were like starting to chip away a little bit, and then the Thunder went on another run, they just kept leaving Nembhard in the corner. And I was wondering if that was a mistake, that maybe, listen, if you're going to shut down Hallie in the way that you are, like, fine, we'll take your best defender and let Halliburton play off ball, and maybe let Nembhard do a little bit more of the offensive facilitating. I mean, granted, you're still getting like Wallace or Caruso in that scenario, but I don't know. Did you see anything like that you thought might be useful in game 3?
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing with Nembhard is, as you point out, his ability to get downhill, his ability to shoot really well in that mid-range. He's proven to be a 16-game player throughout all of these playoffs. I think what they probably are looking to do a little bit more of is maybe you run more Miles Turner screens initially. Yeah. Because a lot of what they're doing now is they're basically using Siakam as that initial screen, and that's the initial action. Maybe you play Hallie off ball, bring Turner over on a screen, and then if he rolls, maybe you can create that space for your wings, whether that's Siakam, whether that's Aaron Nesmith, who was great last night, both offensively and defensively. Maybe you can get to those spots a little bit more. But with Nembhard, like, he's been able to get past Caruso in a pretty significant way, or Dort. It's just a matter of getting to his spots. I think he's going to have one game in these finals where he scores like 23.
Yeah. He seemed like he was getting off to a decent start. It is kind of wild. I saw this happen a couple of times. Nesmith did it, Nembhard did it, where they get by that initial guy, they get into the paint, then they just get stood up in the paint, and then they were throwing, and shout out TST in the DMs, he pointed this out, where you were seeing a lot of the times where it looked like they were finding an open shooter, but because of the way that Thunder were defending, like when they got into the paint, they would have to throw almost these like lob passes. And so like there was enough arc on the pass and enough, like there wasn't some crispness to it that it allowed OKC to recover. And what looked like a corner three, all of a sudden a hands in the face or an open
and then
three.
then it's pass to reset to a new action.
Exactly.
And you're resetting a new action with like 7 on the clock.
Right. And it's got to be just deflating because you're thinking it looks like an open look. Like you see, like they come into the paint, defense collapse a little bit, and you're like, okay, we've got Obi Toppin over here. And then there's no like angle to get it there because again, that OKC defense is swarming. I also thought Dagnall had a pretty good quote after the game where he said, the Pacers, again, I almost want to like pat myself on the back for my knuckleball comparison that I gave the Pacers last season, right? Where like you're so used to playing playing against a specific style of basketball. And then all of a sudden you get a knuckleball and you're like, wait, what the hell is this? And that's kind of what the Pacers team is like. And Dagnall was saying that he was just like, I think we played them once this season, or we don't play them very often. And then like that first game was almost like a culture shock. Like we didn't even know how to play this team when they get going. And they thought that they made some pretty good adjustments. And to what you pointed out, and I'll shout out John Warner too, because he was tweeting about it on last night. Just like maybe throwing some fucking big guys out there was a good move, like just make them play a little bit bigger. And that seemed to be pretty effective. Do you think there's any sort of like Pacers game 3 adjustments that we'll see outside of like, hey, I don't know if Aaron Wiggins is going to knock down 5 triples in Indiana like he did in OKC?
Yeah. I mean, look, this is going to sound kind of funny, but when you look at the Pacers bench, they, like we mentioned earlier, like Mathurin and McConnell played good, not great.
Mm-hmm.
But could we see some more Thomas Bryant, buddy? I know this is going to sound crazy, but like the one thing that Thomas Bryant does more than anything else is he spreads the floor for you offensively, gives you a second. If they're going to go big, and right now Bryant is their backup big, maybe we see some Turner Bryant lineups and basically go full 5 out.
I think you saying that makes me feel comfortable to say Thunder in 5.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like we're like, oh man, maybe if we just get
there aren't
Thomas
a whole lot
Bryant.
of good options here. Like, look, particularly with the Thunder going double big now, like I can't think about what the Pacers can do as a full-on adjustment, other than Hallie needs to frankly play better offensively. Right. And, your team's going to hit shots at home. So, like, I think maybe we could see Thunder in 6.
Yeah.
But I just don't see a whole lot of adjustments for the Pacers where they can turn around and be like, we know exactly how to dominate this team. We know where our spots can be where we can win. And that will be enough for us to win the series. I just don't think they can get there.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I'm not trying to be like so reactionary to. I mean, they won game 1, but I don't see it. I think that you're right. I mean, it feels dumb to boil it down to just like we need Halliburton to play better. But like, if your best player, I'll tell you what, if your best player is going to throw up a number like he did last night, where just again it finished with 17 and 6 on 7-13 for shooting, but again, I would say like 12 of those 7 came, or not maybe not 12, but at least 9 of those 17 came in garbage time. But you can't get a 3 of 11 night from Siakam. You got 6 for 12 from Turner, but again 1 for 5 from 3. I mean, they shot a total of 14.
They were good looks too.
Yeah, they were.
Those were open three-pointers.
Yeah, those open threes, especially at the top of the key, like those have to go down. But yeah, if Halliburton is not going to give you a big night, you're going to need some other people to step up. And again, I just don't think offensively, it's just so hard to make any sort of adjustments against this Thunder team. I mean,
and to your point, just quickly and we'll finish up here with the Kenrich Williams thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kenrich was plus 15 in his minutes. Scored 8 points, but was plus 15.
Yeah.
And, he allows them to basically go 3 big if they want to. You can play him at small forward. Obviously, he's not a shooter, so you can play off him. But, you can do a little bit of mixing and matching with him on the floor. And I think that's a huge win for the Thunder, especially given the Pacers' lack of true size. It's just a complete game changer. It wouldn't shock me if he plays way more minutes in game 3.
Yeah.
Like we could see Kenrich hit He ended up playing 8 minutes, by the way, so you were right in between on your guess.
Here we go.
7 and 9.
There we go.
But I could see like 12 to 15 minutes for Kenrich in game 3.
It's just nuts, like comparing these two rosters, and Dagnall, rightfully or wrongfully, just getting hammered for his lineup adjustments between for game 1. You just look at these rosters, like the Thunder have so many more adjustments that can be made, right? Where it's like, oh, we're gonna like if we look at these minutes, in the difference between Chet played 26 in game 1 and 28 in game 2, but he would have played like 31, 32 if it was not for garbage time. Like he was on pace to play a lot more minutes. But like, hey, listen, tonight's Aaron Wiggins night. He's going to play 21 minutes. Like Caruso's only playing 27. He could easily play like 30 plus minutes. They just have so many more levers to push or pull versus the Pacers, where it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess we play Thomas Bryant a little bit more, or we hope the TJ McConnell energy minutes end up being more effective than they've been in the first couple of games. But this to me is not a TJ McConnell series, just because the Thunder have so many guys, man. They have so many of these like quick dudes that can stay in front.
You need Obi Toppin to play, like that's an elite wing, basically.
Right.
Like off the bench.
Yeah, and he needs to shoot like 40% from 3 at volume. Like that's the only way, because that's the only like the thing that makes them a little bit more unique, where they can play like even Siakam at the 5 and throw Obi out there. They can do a couple of different things if Obi is cooking. But again, like Obi, yeah, he was insane in game 1, like truly insane, because he was just god awful for the first 5 minutes and then ends up turned into Larry Bird for the second half. But like that is what they're going to need. And like you said, man, they are going home. Their role players will play a little bit better, and maybe they can get another one and go back to OKC 2-2. But
does this series remind you a little bit of Philly Lakers in 01?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I kind of think like I really thought that series Philly had no shot. I do think Indiana has a shot to like.
I only say that because Philly won game 1 of that series,
right?
And then the Lakers just dog walked them the next 4 games.
Right.
And that's sort of what this feels like to me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does feel like the OKC could legit just win the next 4. I mean, it really does. And that could be just reacting aggressively to what happened last night. But if you look at again, outside of like 13 game minutes of the how many, what is it? 48, 96 out of like 13 out of the 96 minutes, the Pacers have looked like the better team, and it doesn't matter because it's 1-1. So whatever, it's a shorter series now, but yeah, I just don't know what adjustments. I mean, I already think like the Rick Carlisle's out there already pressing all the right buttons. Like, I don't think specifically outside of the one thing. And again, it's not like totally accurate because of garbage time. I'm just not letting Halliburton sit that much. I'm not letting see it. Like, they should all be playing 42 minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the finals.
Yeah.
Play your guys. This isn't like that part's not a hard adjustment to me.
Yeah.
They let him sit for a good portion of that third quarter run. By the time he came back in, the game was over.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing? And the one thing that I'd point out too, I think there was the last like 4 minutes of the third quarter when it was still like a 13 to 18 minute, 13 point to 18 point lead, right? It just kept like fluctuating. He had both Halliburton and Nembhard on the bench. I was like, why do that? Why like because again, we were talking about Mathurin. I don't know. I mean, the Mathurin minutes just seem bad.
Shout out our guy, Jared Magnuson in chat right now. I know Jared went to game 1.
He was at game 2.
For Jared, by the way.
He was at game 2 as well. Boots on the ground.
Oh, he went to both. Damn.
He went to both. Go to Indiana now, you coward.
No, I'm really happy for Jared because I know he's been there through the trenches in OKC through the tough years. So happy to see you got to go to the finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, we'll see in game 3. We'll be live on playback for game 3. And we'll be able to kind of go from there. Playback.tv/NBA bit.
Yeah, there we go. That'll be on Wednesday.
Shameless plug,
One other thing, how about the NFT trophies that were on the court in the first half?
Oh man, okay, couple things. They're like, we have the NFT trophies, then they go to the finals logo. We also have the Mike Breen early bang.
Yeah, Mike Breen. That was something. That was a big FU to the fans.
Hey, Mike, you've been living online a little too much, buddy. Like,
yeah,
what? you had the ratings discourse over the last couple of days being like lowest rated finals in long. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, seriously.
You're watching the incredible NBA hoops. Like no one cares, honestly. You want to know why the NBA doesn't care about the rating? Because they just got paid fucking like $100 billion.
Yeah, they're fine.
Like,
NBA's fine, guys.
The NBA is in great shape. They have an incredible TV deal. I'm really happy TNT is not going to be moving forward with the NBA. Shout out David Zaslav for breaking apart all the TV networks this morning. Real great job. You lose the NBA and all your TV networks. Good.
Good stuff.
Just like I'm excited for NBC and Amazon. ESPN, like their finals coverage has been not ideal, I think would be the best way to phrase it.
Dude, the halftime show, I don't know if you heard it because you were I went back to eat dinner at the end of the second quarter. But at halftime, there was a real like 90-second back and forth where it was just Stephen A, Kendrick, and Perkins and Bob Myers just yelling. But they were yelling at the same time, and they weren't. Yeah, I don't know if the sound was off in their earpiece, but like they were just trying to get over the noise, I think, and were just screaming. And it was really, really bad TV. It was really bad TV.
Well, here's the thing with that, just to give you a little bit of background. So they were tornado warnings leading into the game. So ESPN was unsure if they would be able to do the production side of their stuff on site.
Well, here's the thing. They did do it, right?
They did eventually. They got there.
I bet they were there by halftime.
I'm just saying.
I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. That halftime show is abysmal. It's awful. I feel so bad for
It's been abysmal for a long time. I heard Rachel Nichols and Chris Mannix talking about it. And both of them, I don't think Mannix has worked for ESPN. He's worked basically everywhere else. But hearing Rachel Nichols talk pretty openly about how bad that part of it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I'm not going to comment specifically on like the broadcast teams, but she was like, as far as halftime goes, ESPN really just values the commercials. So there's just not a whole lot of time to talk.
It's garbage, man. It's garbage. Yeah. But just real quick on the I saw Jared because you weren't there. If you were at the game, you didn't see it, but they put a digital version of the Larry O'Brien trophy on the floor, and it looked like a sticker. It looked like a sticker that was put on or an emoji. It was really dumb. They left that on there for about a half, not even like 20 minutes.
No, it was a quarter because they went to the finals thing in the second.
Right, then they went to the final script. Yeah, after that. Sorry, I meant like 20 like real life minutes. And then it was bad all around. It was really funny. Jared, we're going to 10th to the 14th. Jared, we'll be there 10th to the 14th. We got to hang. It'll be good to see you.
We got a cabana on Saturday. We might have some free tickets to potentially hand out. We'll see for Friday.
That's
see,
right. Anything else before we pivot here a little bit? Anything else on the?
I think a solid 35 minutes on the finals is given its due course.
You feel good about it?
Yeah.
All right. I should have just put Lilo and Stitch on the court. Hell yeah. Now I'm there. All right. Let's do some off-season stuff here. And if you're just joining us now, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. All right. Where do you want to start first? So I messaged you last night or this morning, and I was like, let's just take a look at some of the teams that are just in hell right now, just dumpster fire situations, and what they're going to do to kind of get their way out of it. So what team do you want to start with?
This is going to be the least sexy request of all time, but let's start with the Utah Jazz.
All right. Let's go.
So we have three teams we're going to discuss today: Utah, Sacramento, and Phoenix. We're going to save Phoenix for the end. We want to keep you guys here as long as possible for the Kevin Durant discourse, so we're just going to wait on that. All right. God forbid we talk Kevin Durant, then people leave.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Let's talk Utah a little bit. So about $150.9 million in total salary. They don't really have cap space, or they could have cap space, depending on how you view them. And the reason for that is John Collins. So Collins has a player option of $30 million. If Collins opts out, they have $30 million in cap space that they can use.
The likelihood is he opts in, though, right?
Correct. And then you can kind of deal him like new team president Austin Ainge is going to have a whole lot of optionality across the board because he's going to have a ton of expirings. Leading into 2026, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, and KJ Martin all come off the books. And they're going to have like true max cap space at that point. But over 16 teams will have projected cap space in 26. So like there's this window for them to really leverage their assets and try to set themselves up for the next 5 years. Disappointing offseason in terms of the lottery and that you don't get a top 3 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to have optionality in terms of trading guys like Sexton, Clarkson, John Collins, even Lauri Markkanen potentially. They're going to have a real chance to make some moves. They're still going to be bad. And by the way, their first round pick is owed next year to, ironically enough, OKC, but it's projected 1 through 8. So they're going to be terrible anyway, so that won't matter. But the other part of this is they own a shitload of picks, Mike. Over the next 5 years, they own 2 first-round picks this year, 2 next year, 3 in 27, 2 in 28, and 2 in 29. The bulk of those from the Donovan Mitchell trade.
Right.
So, when we look at like their overall covered, it's basically you have a bunch of expirings you can trade. You have a ton of draft picks long-term and a pretty flexible cap sheet. So while they're in like a shitty place in terms of where the roster is now in some ways, they do have some really nice young players in Keontae George. Isaiah Collier had a nice year. Kyle Filipowski had a nice year. So like they have some building blocks. The question is like, is this enough to put you into a plane race 2 years from now?
Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to yeah, Zach Lowe had Howard Beck on last week, and they were talking about the Jazz a little bit. And one of the things that they had mentioned is they had let go of 2 of their like the people in charge of their scouts, their scouting, and that was due to. It sounded like it was due to ownership just being like, how many times are we going to whiff in the first round? Now Filipowski did have a little bit of a nice run, but Cody Williams, I believe, was the 7th or 8th overall pick, correct? Pick. Yeah, and he looked rough this past season. For those that don't know, J-Dub's brother, Cody Williams,
and he's a little older too. That's right. The other thing with the older Williams that he, I'm going to pull up his numbers right now. Let me just get this here 1 second.
And while you're doing that too, the other thing I will just mention is like the Lowry was being talked about a little bit on the Bill Simmons pod about being a potential trade guy. But man, Lowry, like, who I think Lowry is great. I really do. Like, he was an all-star a couple of years ago. I don't know where his trade value is right now, though. I mean, he like barely played last season and was like constantly, like, whether it was a lower back thing and again, that part of that is just Utah not playing their guys. But like, it feels like you'd be selling really low on Lauri Markkanen right now if you did.
Just quickly to finish up the thought on Cody Williams, played 50 games, averaged 4.6 points a game, 2 boards, and an assist for a top 10 pick on a bad team.
Right.
That's
right. He was getting plenty of run.
And by the way, finished his year in April with mono. Tough bid for the guy,
Yeah.
You have an awful first year, and you end up out for the season with mono.
And I feel like he was battling some injuries early on in the season too. I feel like.
Yep, had like a sprained ankle. But yeah, as far as the Lauri part of this, so last year they hit an inflection point prior to the season where Lauri, they were talking about trading to the Warriors. They wanted Pods and Kuminga in that deal. The Warriors would not give on Pods. And I don't know how you feel about it, Mike. I think the Warriors kind of dodged a bullet from their perspective.
I don't really know. I'll be honest. I don't know because I just think it's really hard to evaluate like not veteran, but like guys in their prime in Utah because they're just like purposefully not playing them at all. Like even John Collins, I think could be a very different story in a different uniform. But because Lowry, you're playing on a team that's trying to lose games, you're playing once a week. You know, like if it's a close game, you're probably being taken out of the game. Like it's really hard. And I think he would have made a ton of sense in Golden State. I mean, I don't know. Does the Jimmy deal still happen if Lowry's there?
No, that's the big difference. Is you basically acquire Lowry and the Jimmy stuff is off the table. You basically give him all your major assets for Lowry.
Mhm.
You know, I'm intrigued to see where they go because I think they're going to be a major player in this offseason.
Yeah.
In terms of contenders are going to need a space to have a third team because of second apron rules. It gets really difficult to do player for player, and we're going to talk about the Suns in just a couple minutes. But like for the second apron rules, you can't aggregate contracts. However, teams, third parties like Utah can, and Brooklyn, because Brooklyn's going to have the most space. So like you're going to have avenues, but teams like Utah are really in a great spot where they can be like, all right, well, we're going to put John Collins in this deal, and that will allow, say, the Celtics to dump Kristaps Porzingis. You know, and Collins doesn't even need to go somewhere like Boston. He can be traded as a third party somewhere else. That's where things can get really interesting for Utah.
Yeah, I wonder if they end up being more of a team that is active in like December, January, February, versus like ripping band-aids off in the offseason. But I don't know. I really can't tell. And I know Austin Ainge had the comments of like we're not tanking anymore. But does that mean you're just not like like you said, they're gonna tank all on their own, whether they're trying to or not, because they're not very good. So I'm curious to see how they handle it.
All right, we got about 20 minutes left in the segment. We're going to speed run through the Kings because the league's going to speed run through that team anyway. They're in a tight spot. They have no cap space. They have 160.1 committed this year, 160.9 technically. They're hard capped because they use their full non-taxpayer mid-level. They basically became Chicago Bulls West. Not ideal when you acquire Levine and DeRozan. They do own a bunch of their own picks. Their only first outgoing are this season to Atlanta and a 2031 first-round swap to, surprise, surprise, San Antonio, because San Antonio owns everyone's first outside of OKC. I don't know where the Kings go. Like, you want to talk about a team that's stuck in the middle and doesn't have a whole lot of paths to really get out. I mean, you had Hallie, cool. You chose Fox over him, basically. And then you acquire Sabonis only to let Fox go in this trade. And you now have this older team of Levine and DeRozan, but you also have some like good young guys like Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray. Like, I don't know what direction they're going, which is a great analysis for, I don't know, Vivek Ranadive's entire ownership of the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, it just really impulsive stuff. I mean, that's really what it is, where I think they got a taste of being relevant and postseason money, like all of that stuff. And then they were like, we have to do whatever we can to stay there. And, you know, they got a little unlucky with some health stuff. And then, yeah, like what Stan says too, I thought Keegan had taken some steps. And then when you bring in, you know, a Levine and DeRozan, that really changes like what Keegan is to you now. Now he's truly just going to defend and then shoot a handful of threes a game, right? And now because you've added those guys that like clog up that space. I mean, they essentially were playing without a point guard the second half of the year. Like Keon Ellis is a great player. Great is strong, but he's a really good, great defender and like fine offensively.
A good supplementary piece would be the way that I would describe it.
Yeah,
he feels like a guy who's going to be in the league for 15 years and is just a dog defensively.
Right.
And if the offense comes around, the offense comes around. But like, we kind of know what that player archetype is.
Right. And then like just kind of wild too to see Davion Mitchell go to Miami and then like immediately become a good point guard. That was interesting. Not that I'm saying they should have held on to Davion. It was just funny to see him like never get on the floor to do anything offensively for the Kings, and then he's in those like play-in games in first round with Miami, and he was like their best offensive player outside of Hero.
I thought Devin Carter was good second half of the year for them. Like,
yeah, he did show some life. He did. But I don't know where they go. Like, I don't know if they're going to still try to be good. Like, are they still trying to compete and win in the West? But I mean, there's very few teams I would put them ahead of in the Western Conference right now.
Yeah, I mean, the one upside for them, if you decide to full on blow it up, this is an excellent draft. And, the problem is you're going to have to figure out how to get off the Levine and DeRozan contracts. DeRozan's going to be a little bit easier, relatively speaking, even though he's older.
Nobody's taking Levine's contract.
I mean, it would take, you know what it would take? It would take
Kings.
it would take going to like Denver and taking Jamal Murray.
But but why would Denver do Jamal Murray?
Well, there's been some smoke out of Denver about Jamal's. It's the best way to frame this. A little bit of unhappiness with the way Jamal kind of acted character-wise this year, and there's a thought of maybe their ceiling's a little capped with Jamal
there's
Murray.
No way.
Point guard.
There's no way. I've
been listening to both the DNVR guys and the Lockdown Nuggets guys, like Matt Moore, Swipa, a couple other guys. Like that's real. That the Nuggets org is kind of like a little uneasy, particularly given how big Jamal's deal is. Who
is the Denver org, by the way? Like, they don't have a general manager. Who are the people that are
is in theory going to be their new GM?
I love the idea that they're upset with Jamal's behavior and they've fired the people that would be upset with the behavior. Like, what are we talking about? There's no way. I think that is, if I'm Jokic, I request
that's
a trade.
The kind, because of the amount of Murray the kind of money that Murray is owed, that's the kind of contract you would have to deal for.
Yeah, there's just no way that they would just be bailing out, like, in Levine. No way. That would just be insane.
Levine's owed about $100 million in the next 2 years. Second year is a player option, by the way.
That's interesting. Garland out 4 to 5 months, huh? I wonder if that hurts the trade value there, right there, because there was a lot of smoke about Garland potentially getting smoke. Yeah, 4 to 5 months. So him and Zach Edey going down today and yesterday for.
Well, the Edey news was kind of crazy because that's the wildest sprained ankle I've ever heard of. How long is Edey out for with a sprained ankle?
Yeah, that was something he was dealing with though throughout the entirety of the season. So I don't know if it got real bad.
Can't we just say that there's something torn in there and it's not a sprain? At that point, I don't know. Yeah, an ankle sprain seems pretty light for being out 3 months.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more than that. I think it's gonna be like 4 to 5, like similar to the Garland. I think he's supposed to miss the start of the season. But anyway, sorry.
Look, the Kings are toast. And then, by the way, DeRozan is owed $24 million this year, and then he has a cap hold of 25.7 next year. He's owed 25.7 next year, and then he's a free agent in 27-28. So, between those two, it's pretty ridiculous. You're basically between Levine, Sabonis, DeRozan, you're talking like $120-ish million.
I would say tired DeRozan, Levine trades, wired Sabonis trades. Let's get Sabonis on the move here. I think let's find Sabone a new home.
Yep, we can do that.
Sabonis for Cat. He says no.
Let's talk Phoenix, baby.
We'll wrap up with Phoenix.
Man, the discussion about Phoenix is going to be just ongoing for the next couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Friendly reminder, they are heavy into the second apron. Here's what that means functionally. They can't aggregate contracts. They can't use more than 100% of a traded player exception. Normally it can be up to 120. They can't send out any cash. Good for Matt Ishbia because he's been burning it lately. They can't use a pre-existing trade exception. They can't sign a waived player with a salary of at least $14.1 million. And also, their picks are going to be frozen next year by staying in the second apron.
Thumbs up.
Cool.
Matt's going to get more involved, baby.
Oh, yes. We should talk about that. We should talk about that part of it. Matt Ishbia came out in a piece this week where he allegedly emailed the operations staff saying that he had been hands off.
Yeah.
He tried to do the new owner thing and be hands off. Brother,
Poor James.
You traded your entire org for Kevin Durant.
Poor James Jones can't even be there to defend himself. Because he's gone. And then they hire their new GM. Basically, has had like a year plus experience in the NBA.
Yeah, as a yes man for HBA.
Yeah.
And by the way, their entire staff, including the new coach, Jordan Ott, they're all Michigan State.
Yeah.
Like entirely, And by the way, I think Jordan Ott is pretty well regarded league wide. He did some time with the Lakers, was pretty involved with Evan Mobley's leap this year in Cleveland. He was basically their third assistant on staff, where that I would describe their coaching staff as, you got their head coach, and then they got Johnny Bryan as their lead assistant, and then Ott was kind of their third guy. So, you look at this roster, you're going to trade Kevin Durant. That's fait accompli at this point. What do you do with Bradley Beal?
I mean,
do you stretch him?
Pay for him to be kidnapped?
Maybe. I don't know. And then finally, there's going to be this lingering question about Devin Booker with them. Book says he's there long term. We'll see. With the amount of losing they're going to do this year, we will see.
I mean, he seems pretty adamant. Like, I haven't heard anything saying he would say he would want to go. Like, it really does sound like the organization's going to have to do it on his own, but he's going to get paid first. Like, he's due for that extension that's going to come in, and then we'll see what happens. But I don't think he's going anywhere, which honestly it would make it a lot easier for Phoenix if he did force his way out. Like, it really would. That, because they're right now they are in a similar situation. Like, you almost think about Brooklyn after the Celtics stuff, right? Like when KG and Paul Pierce, and just like the hell that they were in, and it took them a decade basically to get their way out of it. And Phoenix feels like they're in the similar spot. Like, there's no like single thing they can do to all of a sudden be in a better place. When you have Bradley Beal in a no trade clause making $50+ million, you got KD and whatever money you're going to get back when you move him, and then Booker, like, you're just with no assets. Like, you've got nothing. You've got no way out except for just like chipping away over the next 5 to 7 years.
And they don't own any of their own picks.
Right.
Like, I'm pulling up the real GM future draft picks owed. But I think like the only first, remember they made that weird trade middle of the year where they gave up their 2031 first in exchange for like 4 seconds.
Right. The Utah deal, right? That was with Utah.
Yeah.
And we thought, we were like, oh, this has to be, they must be doing this before a bigger move. And then the bigger move never came. So then it was just
the bigger move was going to be Jimmy Butler.
Right.
They had a deal in place for Jimmy. It was basically going to be a 3-way deal. Durant was going to go to Golden State and Jimmy was going to go to Miami.
Right.
And there was some debate as to what was going to go to Miami. Like Kuminga might have been involved in that deal. Which is kind of like an interesting turning point, given that it seems like Kuminga may end up staying in Golden State this year.
Really? That's the rumors right now that he's
they're reporting out of Golden State this week from a bunch of their beat reporters, like Anthony Slater, is that it may make more sense for them to sign him to like a big deal, like somewhere between 20 to 25 million. And this gets a little bit cap nerdy, but here's the most basic way I can explain it. If you're going to sign and trade him this offseason, let's say to make the math easy, let's say you sign to a $30 million deal, AAV, right?
Yeah.
Once you do that, you go into the first apron, which means for base year cap considerations, sending him out, it's half that number. So you can only acquire a $15 million player.
Okay. Wow.
So it gets really messy because there's not a lot of like good assets you can get back for $15 million or less. So what may happen is they'd rather sign him long-term to 20 to 25 million, keep him for 6 months, as fucking messy as that's going to be, given the warpath that Steve Kerr went on him on radio over the last month.
Right.
And be like, all right, we're going to keep you, and then we're going to trade you 6 months from now when we can get a $25 million player.
Man, if I was Jordan Ott, I just probably wouldn't have taken this job. I just don't think I would have,
Hey, look, there's only, 30 of these jobs available. You want to become a head coach in the league. I totally understand, but it's a very difficult spot. Phoenix is brutal in terms of their cap table. They don't have a ton of options because they're a second apron team in terms of leverage of what they can do. They're going to need a third party to make any of these deals work. And then you still have to deal with the bullshit that is Bradley Beal. One thought on Beal before we head out of here.
Yeah.
Washington was a real thing before the deadline.
What?
And
Washington going back to the Wizards?
So there was some light reporting on the idea of Beal wanting to go back to Washington. The reason why Washington would do it is, this is going to sound so fucking dumb, they wanted him to break their all-time scoring record.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
That's an insane.
Now, the thing with Beal is he's expiring anyway. So it was like a cheap pump for ticket sales, basically. But that's the thought.
Wait, he's not expiring yet, right? Doesn't he have another year? He's got this
He has
year.
another
one more?
year. He has 2 years left. 2 years left.
Yeah.
But it's like,
what are we doing?
That's what they want to do. And they would give up some assets to get there. It wouldn't take much. And if you're doing that kind of a deal, it's pretty straightforward. They have some big contracts that you can dump, but yeah, that's how you would do it.
That's Bradley
It's so
Beal's
dumb.
Bradley Beal's not getting traded. Nobody, like, especially in this new era.
It'd be very funny if he gets stretched and waived and then goes to Washington.
Yeah,
I could see that too.
Or stretched and waived. You could also go to a competitive team if you get stretched and waived. Then you have to turn into essentially like Russell Westbrook. And I don't mean like the style of play of Russ, but you're like, I guess I'll play like 18 minutes off the bench for a good team.
Well, here's the other thing with stretching and waiving him. A stretch and waive, basically, you're extending that contract out for like 5 years.
Right.
It would be the biggest contract to ever be stretched and waived.
Dude, dream big, man. Dare to dream big. That's what we're looking for.
It would be one of the most brutal moves that a team could make. I mean, we're talking literally $110 million that you'd be stretching and waiving over 5 years.
Just incredible. That's what I mean. I just don't think they have a solid way out right now. And again, like Phoenix would really be or Booker would really be doing Phoenix a favor by being like, you know what, guys, why don't we sign this extension and then you just trade me?
Trade me in 6 months.
Yeah, just do that. Do that instead.
And Matt SGA may have to do that, but Matt has a clearly defined set of expectations that he wants to win now. And I'll tell you, in the next 5 years, that shit ain't happening.
No, it's not. I mean, again, like if you're in the Eastern Conference, maybe we're having a different conversation, right? Because I do think like that kind of roster could probably still be like a 6 seed or something. Yeah.
Top
right?
6.
Yeah. But in the West, especially with just everybody else getting better around them, like I do think another team that's going to be kind of fun to pay attention to is Portland, because I think Portland's going to get a little bit better this year. And they also could move off of some guys too, like the Simons stuff.
You're going to move off Hayden.
Yeah. I know it's so funny that it seemed like the worst contract in the world, and then all of a sudden that's almost done, right?
At 30 plus mil, you can move off that, given the amount of teams that are going to need that level of contract. So
yeah, man.
And Anthony Simons, you're probably going to.
Yeah, probably, right? I send him to Orlando, for the love of God. Get that guy. Get Orlando somebody that can shoot the fucking ball.
Hey, look, that Orlando Simons thing has been rumored for 5 years. Let's just put a ring on it and make that engagement official, all right?
Let's do it. Weisberg, thanks for hanging out, man, for the first hour. Appreciate you jumping on and talking last night's game, and then just how fucked the Phoenix Suns are. So always a good time. And then Wednesday at 8 or 8:30, whatever time that game is, on playback.
8:30.
8:30. And then anything else to plug on the ways out?
No, we're good. We're going to see everyone in Summer League in a month. We're going to have another 4 weeks of this kind of discussion. We're going to be breaking down all the teams over the next couple of weeks, talk about cap, trades, all of the good stuff. So things are going to heat up over the next 2 weeks as we're leading into draft season. So expect that over the next 2 weeks. I would expect some movement on the Durant front probably in the next, 10 to 14 days.
Yeah, I would think so. Before the draft, supposedly. Before the draft. Yeah. But all right, man, we'll get you on out of here. Thanks for hanging. See everybody on Playback on Wednesday. Later, Mike. Hey, if you're just joining us, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe. If you're one of those dorks on X watching, come on over to YouTube or Twitter, wherever. Let me take that back. You watch wherever you want to watch. All right. But yeah, let's keep the show moving, baby. We're gonna talk some Knicks stuff. I'm very excited to bring on Mr. Jeff Cerulli. Jeff, what's going on, dude? How we doing?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Look at we went from Weisberg just yelling. Listen to that professional, smooth microphone as he comes on, right? Nice and smooth. How we doing?
Good. I mean, I did I just hear him say something about they're going to talk about cat trade rumors? Is that a thing that I heard him?
KD. I thought he said
I thought he said cat too, and I was like, excuse me, I don't believe we're trading the second greatest Knick of all time. I mean, how could we do that?
Yeah, right. Also, wow, look at this right off the bump in the chat. I watched Jeff's special this morning after seeing he'd be on the show. The Zakarian bump is real.
Yeah, huge. Thank you for watching it. It's on Amazon, Apple, anywhere where you get your comedy specials now.
Dude, we love that. Jeff, I was really excited to bring you on for a bunch of reasons because at one point we should talk some New York urban basketball. But
yeah, please.
Your response in the DMs over the weekend about the Knicks, maybe the Knicks don't know what they're doing. I think it was kind of like my favorite because I think you were almost like Tibbs did have to go. I like the direction we're going, and then there was this moment of like, oh no, what happened? And I just like take me through your thought process as a real Knicks fan right now.
Okay, so the way I've felt about Tibbs has been pretty consistent, and I reshared something I tweeted in 2020.
Yeah.
Which was so funny where I was like, because there was kid rumors in 2020. So I said, oh, the Knicks are floating out kid rumors to get us okay with hiring Tibbs when we all wanted Kenny Atkinson. That was basically the tweet. So I was a guy in 2020. I wanted Kenny Atkinson. We're like kind of a young team. I saw what he did with the Nets. I was like, this is the guy for the job. Tibbs was such a Knicks hire, such a name. You know, he wanted the job. So no question, he did a great job here. But I started feeling around the Miami series 2 years ago where we got really outcoached by Spo. I said, ultimately, I think you're going to have to replace him if you're trying to win a championship. And I agree with Zach Lowe's sentiment that like you can win with him,
sure,
but you need a lot of things to go right. You need his players. I always kind of saw him as like a D'Antoni in a way. Like D'Antoni is a good coach, but he's very locked in his way. If he doesn't get his players like he didn't have here at the Lakers, he struggles.
Right. I really like that Zach Lowe take, because I hadn't really heard that yet, where it was just like he's not a bad coach, and if as long as you don't need him to be an X factor in the series, you could absolutely win. But when it starts coming down to that, you're like, I don't know if that's the guy I want.
I think that was a fair take because he's a Tibbs guy and he likes doing the voice and I thought that was fair. And it's like, no, I kind of took it back a little bit too. I'm like, I think you could win with him, but you have to have a lot of things going right. And it's kind of no different than Jalen Brunson. Like this sentiment, like this Becky Hammond clip that goes around the day he has a bad playoff game and now he sucks now and you can't win a title with him. A lot of that is based on like 80s NBA where it's like very center heavy and can you win with a small guard? Only Isaiah Thomas did it. I think that's not kind of comparable to where we.
I don't know if did you freeze, Jeff, or did I freeze? Who froze here?
I think you might have froze, but maybe maybe the take is
the take is too hot or too cold.
It's too hot. So
I think we're back.
So so it's the same thing with Brunson. Can you win with Brunson? I think absolutely, but you got to get a lot of things right. So I've kind of felt the same way about Tibbs, kind of long-winded answer where I said, ultimately, I think you probably need to replace him if you're trying to go where you're going. And this season I felt the same way. I go, his rotations are crazy. He doesn't make adjustments. He's so rigid. The starting lineup, the offense has gotten worse every season, every month. It was like second in offense, like in the beginning, and then it's all the way in like the 20s at the end, and he's not changing. And I thought it was crazy down 0-2 to make changes. Like it just shows you that, to me, that you should have been doing that all along. Like it's crazy down 0-2 in the Eastern Conference to be like, okay, now we're going to play Shamet, we're going to play Wright, we're going to switch the starting lineup. It's like, that was fucking insane.
It was so funny too for everyone. Like when he initially did it, they were like, "Finally, this is good coaching, good adjustments." And then it like sank in for a second. It was like, "Wait! Why did we wait till now to try this out?"
Yeah, I mean, I saw it 2 years ago with Fournier. He started Fournier for too long. Obviously, Grimes should have been the starter. He finally puts Grimes in. Now RJ doesn't have to guard the best player. The team kind of takes off, and then he has no use for Fournier. And it's like, I wasn't having Fournier a guy, but still, it's like, I just think a better coach is like, all right, you're not starting, but that doesn't mean you're completely out of the rotation. Like kind of what Spo did with Duncan Robinson that year. It's like he was starting, he was out of the rotation. Then the playoffs, he was useful against us. So it's like, you can't find a role for a guy. We're dying. We have no shooting here. We're fucking dying against the Heat. They're collapsing on Brunson. So I've had issues with Tibbs. I thought they replaced him. And then when they fired him so quickly, how could I disagree with it? It's something I've been complaining about for 2 years. I go, okay, this was the right decision. I assumed it was going to be Johnny Bryant. I text you. I go, okay, they must really love this kid. They're going to bring him back. They can't announce it right now because it's like, out of respect. So they'll wait like a week or two to announce it. And then it just shows it's forward thinking. And it's like, okay, we're close, but we're not there. Cause I also think you got to be realistic. They almost lost to the Pistons. I know it's the first time they got to the Eastern Conference in 25 years, but they also almost lost to the Pistons. They had a lot of trouble with a team on paper they should have beaten in 5. Just the inexperience, and like obviously the Pistons kind of folded every game at the end. So I was for the move. Then what happened when I DM'd you, I was like, okay, wait, they clearly don't have a plan here. This is Dolan stepping in, which is a nightmare, which you don't want. This Jason Kidd stuff, I think because they're like, well, if we get Jason Kidd, maybe we can get Giannis somehow, which I never believed. So I'm less into it now when everything is settled and it's like, oh, they don't actually have a plan. They're just kind of just figuring it out now. And it's debatable who did the move. And it seems like Dolan spoke to the players, and a lot of players are like, I don't want to play for him anymore. Mikal Bridges during the season obviously said what he said. So I'm less for it now, as just it doesn't seem like there's a plan.
I got to tell you, man, I like spent last week basically patting them on the back because I was really impressed that they weren't like, my understanding was like the front office must have decided in like February, Tibbs is not going to be the long-term answer as this coach. And regardless, outside of maybe winning the chip, they knew they were going to make an adjustment at the head coaching position. And then they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm like, there's no way they will. And I was proud of them. They stood by their conviction. They were like, this is not the guy. Even though we made it to the first time in 25 years, we're going to replace him. And then you're absolutely right. Like the more information that comes out, it just is it's feeling a little bit more uncomfortable as we get further along, that they were like, oh, maybe they didn't have an idea, because if you knew in February you were going to get rid of them, you would think you already have your coaching candidates ready to go. Right. And now it does not. The fact that they're just like, well, maybe we fucking trade for Kidd. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly where my head's at. And we've talked a lot through this. We talk a lot of hoops, and, that's where I was. And Leon, I was very critical of Leon at first, because if you go back to the summer after they beat the Hawks, they didn't take an honest look at the team. Right. It was, wow, we made the playoffs for the first time in a while. We got to keep the party going. Let's run it back. Let's bring Derrick Rose back, Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks. We'll bring in Fournier. We'll bring in Kemba. We're gonna just keep the party moving. We have to stay
bring
good.
In Kemba.
Yeah, and we all thought the Kemba was a 1-year deal. We thought it was a 1 year plus one. They were giving out very team-friendly deals, and that deal cost them a lottery pick, which could have been Jalen Williams, could have been Jalen Duran. It could have been another Jalen to pair with Jalen Brunson. We'll never know. But so I thought it was forward thinking. I go, okay, he learned from his mistakes. You can't just stay pat. He was very aggressive last summer. So I gave credit there, and I go, okay, Leon Rose is being really aggressive here, but then now I don't know. I don't know what the plan is here, and I don't know who's going to be the coach, honestly. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it'll be Johnny Bryant at this point.
It was wild for it to just be so clear it was going to be Johnny Bryant, and then like 72 hours later, we're like, there's no way it's Johnny Bryant at this point. And if it is Johnny Bryant, it's because everyone else said no. That's the only, like, the way it feels. Yeah, I'm really confused. I know a lot of the pieces coming out right now, like The Athletic has dropped a couple of things. I think Yahoo did something yesterday. It was like Vincent. Oh yeah, Mike put in the chat, Vincent Goodwill. I mean, first of all, when a team gets eliminated, a piece never comes out that's like, oh wow, it was really great. Like it's always negative stuff that comes out. So I'm not too surprised, but it does seem like there was some real like friction behind the scenes, and it does seem like Dolan was a little bit more involved. That was like part of it last week where I did not think Dolan was involved at all in this, and I was like, good. This is good. This is just front offices being front offices. But now it seems like Dolan was way more involved. And now like players are get like anonymous sources and quotes from players about not being happy with what's going on. It feels weird for them to be the most successful Knicks team in the last 25 years and the vibes be so bad at the end of the season.
A lot of people would compare this team to last year, and it kind of was irrelevant once Hart left. Once Ihart left, it was just irrelevant. He left. I will not kill Leon Rose for that. He got him on a team-friendly deal. Like it fit into the cap. Like it's just, you couldn't predict that this is going to come back to bite you when you want to re-sign the guy. Like it's just, he so outplayed his contract. And also, by the way, Tibbs was so late to make that adjustment. And the only reason he did is because Mitch got hurt. And now Hartenstein comes in and he looks so much better. He's like a release valve for Brunson. It's like that, the January dream lineup, which we saw was kind of just because Mitch got hurt and you put him in the starting lineup. So I don't know, man. It was like, it felt like I liked ignoring that's the first time you made the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. It's just almost irrelevant. And some of Tibbs, like he gets all the credit in the world. Like he got these wins, but it's also like they had so many bad coaches and bad players. It's kind of irrelevant in a way. It's like, you have to credit him, but also it's like, who the fuck cares about what they did in 2015 to now? You can't make decisions based on how bad they were 10 years ago to just be like, all right, we have to stay pat because we have to enjoy that we're good now and we were bad before. So again, it seemed forward thinking. It was like, okay, like I said, Hawks summer, like it's kind of like the Giants. The Giants like won a playoff game and they're like, well, we have to bring Daniel Jones. Like we have to. And it's like, what is that? Is that better for the future of the team? Or are you just doing this because it's the easiest thing? So I don't know. I guess if the smoke clears and it's Johnny Bryant or it's someone that's like can run a modern offense and the rotations will be better, no one will care next year. But it's also like, what does the roster even look like? They have no cap space. Like they have to get very creative. I don't want Kevin Durant. I think that's like the worst vibes you can do. Bringing in a guy who didn't want to come here and now they're good. And now you go, all right, you can cut. He's older. He's come off injury. Like I think that's a huge mistake.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, KD's great. I'm not even like anti-KD or anything. But I don't even know why the interest is there for the Knicks. I mean, like, yes, you guys like that's frustrating. You didn't make it to the finals, and there's stuff to figure out here with Cat and Brunson being your two best players on the floor at the same time, and not either one of them can really defend a lick. But you guys only had your team together for like not even a week before the season started. And I do think there is real like continuity stuff where if you get a full off season now, this was Bridges' first year, Cat's first year, OG had been there for a year and change. Like, I don't know, maybe you look at the Eastern Conference, you're not really scared of anybody right now, right? Like just like let it rip for one more year and maybe try to, I don't know if Mitch Robb leaves because someone throws, because is he a free agent?
No, he's got 1 year left. Is he?
Oh, 1 year left. Okay.
Does he have trade value? I mean, he's always hurt. Even when he's not hurt, he looks like he doesn't like, he doesn't move well. Like he had a great playoffs, all things considered, but like you can only play him like 10 minutes a pop and then he's like done. And
the one sneaky thing with his like, if there is trade value, I would like explore it, but I like, you still need that piece back. You know what I mean? Like you can't, it's not like you'd be like, oh, the Lakers, can we do something like Mitch Robb and something for Austin Reeves? But you don't need another Austin Reeves type. You need another Mitch Robb type. That's like the problem. You would need to be trading Mitch Robb for Mitch Robb for DeAndre Ayton. Maybe you go get but you need like somebody who can just some more rim protection and like a backup for Cat. And I don't really know what that is. I mean, I guess the saying is you can always find a center. And if that's true, I feel like you'd have another one. I don't know.
I would love to see just the 5 out. Like if possible, they never like Deuce. I don't think he's like the greatest like thing in the world, but it's like he's on a very cheap contract. He's a good enough shooter that teams have to like they could. The problem was he played Josh Hart so many minutes that the team sagged off Josh Hart and it killed the spacing. So I don't know why he never experiment. I mean, I know why, whatever. He's very rigid in his ways. And this is part of why he's not here anymore is he never experimented with Deuce at Hart's spot. So let's see if we can get 5 out, because it's like, you know, as far as like the Cat defense stuff, I got a little tired of hearing about it just because it's like, yeah, I know he's not a great defender. Like, can we at least try to max out the offense here? Can we at least try to run a 5 out with him? And we never really did. Bridges also, like, you're talking about vibes compared to this year, last year, where the vibes were like sky high last year. He seemed miserable 80% of the season, just miserable, just going through the motion. It felt like the Celtics series, he got like kind of his mojo back, and he was like a defensive factor, and he was a really part of the action. But for most of the season, he's like kind of staying in a corner. Then Brunson gets hurt, and finally he's come alive again. It's like, can we use Mikal Bridges like in a way that isn't just like stand in the corner and do your weird fucking robot shot, which
I thought he was good.
He looks like the robot. It's just, he fucked with his shot, and it's just, we're just going to have him in the corner doing his robot shot. And it's like, he's so good mid-range. He also has some stuff where he does not do layups anymore. It's just,
he doesn't.
He shies away from it. He doesn't go to the free throw line, but it's like, can you not get the hybrid version that like we all envision, giving up all these picks for him? Like, can you not like run an offense where he's like a factor every game?
That was the most frustrating thing. And again, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I was like, when they got Bridges, I was like, this is perfect because he can defend and shoot well enough, but where he could run I thought he was going to run the second unit. I thought he was going to be your like offensive forward. Like, I thought he was going to be the guy. We saw him do this in Brooklyn. And I was like, maybe he just like runs. It's like him and Deuce and then whoever else you have on the bench. Like, I thought that was going to be the second unit, and it just like never really came. And I don't know. I mean, clearly he was the loudest one of, I would like a new head coach. I mean, very rarely do you see a player like publicly call out a coach, let alone a successful team's player call out a coach into the media. And he did that back in March. And I mean, everybody's already made the joke, but just assuming that the quotes in these pieces post season has been like, oh yeah, it's Bridges talking to the media. It's Bridges is the one that was unhappy. And I don't know. Maybe he comes back to life, but to me, it's like you need Bridges to play like Bridges, and honestly, you need I think Josh Hart should just be a 6 man. Someone should
100%. Yeah,
whoever the coach is, just be like, Josh, you want to win 6 man of the year next year? Like, let's do that.
Come in and do Josh Hart things. He should not be starting. He just like he doesn't want to shoot. Here's Josh Hart. Take a 20-game sample of Josh Hart. There will be one game where he shoots like, 6 of 9 from 3 or something ridiculous. And then every other game,
Celtics.
It's against the Celtics. He did it against the Cavs the other year in the playoffs too. It's just like randomly. Right. But yeah, Josh Hart should be a 6 man. Let's see a 5 out offense. Like, I don't think like these, like, and you said it's year 1 of this core essentially. Like, OG hasn't been here that long. Bridges just came here. Like, Cat just came here. Like, I don't trade Cat. I just make it work with him. I know his contract's going to be absolutely insane as it goes, but all the contracts go up. All the contracts are going to go up.
That. Yeah, that's why everybody gets mad about Jaylen Brown. And I was like, dude, what do you think the contracts are going to look like? Like, they didn't all of a sudden start going down. Like, they still, like, SGA is going to be making $1 million a game in like 3 years from now.
$1 million it's just dribble.
Yeah. Every free throw attempt. I hate that part of the conversation. But yeah, like I think moving off Cat right now would be immature, premature, whatever mature you want to throw in there.
Very immature. It's like a fart joke. It's just
because like you're not going to get anything back that's better than Cat.
That's what I worry. What is the market? KD? It's just I just think that's the worst thing you can do, bringing him in. Just don't do it. Don't, from his age standpoint, from a guy that didn't want to be here, just don't do it. I think you ride with Cat and you just make it work. And like they can round out the edges. Like they'll probably bring in like a backup guard and they'll go in the apron and they'll just deal with it for a season. See how it goes.
Hesitant to put this out there, but does Tim Hardaway Jr. come home?
Third time?
Third time, yeah. I'm just
Third
thinking,
time?
like, I'm trying to think of the guys that are available that you could, because the problem with Josh
Steve
Hart out there,
Mills. Do you know how
you-
when we signed him the second time? Do you know the logistics of it?
no.
Steve Mills was like the GM for like literally a week, and he just signed Tim Hardaway to a deal. It was like in
Wait,
between GMs, they let Steve Mills do it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I signed Tim Hardaway. Okay, yeah, he's coming back." And then yeah,
That's
oh man,
incredible. No, I'm just trying to think of like shooters that won't cost you a ton that are going to be on the market where, like, again, if you're moving Josh Hart to the bench, you don't need somebody to come in that's just this like lockdown guy, but you need somebody that can just chuck that if you're going to go 5 out. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is probably not the answer, but that was somebody that I was thinking of.
I haven't looked at it, but it's got to be someone on the cheap, even someone like a Luke Kennard, or just someone that like teams can't sag off of just that, just, you know, I don't know. I think you just like the East is going to be so bad that you just get in as a 3, 4, 5 seed. At worst, you're in there, and then you just see what happens. And like literally, like let's develop Kolek, let's develop Hook Porty, let's pick up another like guard like at the vet minimum. I would, you know, who I'd be interested in, who's a free agent as a backup point guard, who's very old, but for 1 year, Chris Paul.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Just for 1 year, run the backup, because they desperately need another ball handler. Just, you know, if Kolek is like, you know, we don't know what he is yet, he's only gonna be second year, like Chris Paul on a vet minimum to come to New York and try to win a championship, like I'm all in on that. I think that's like, oh, dude, don't turn the ball over, 6 points a game, 5 assists, like run the second unit.
Yeah,
Great.
go. Yeah, him, Mike Conley. Go get somebody that's 40. Go get somebody that's 40 that doesn't turn the ball over. Weisberg said CP staying in LA. Well, Mike, that might be true, but first of all, he's not in LA right now.
Yeah, he's not in LA right now. So
you used the wrong word. And if he's probably typing right now, "Oh, but he lives in LA." It doesn't count. It doesn't count. I do like this one too. Tyus Jones, I think, is somebody. Cool. His value just got absolutely nuked. Thank you to the Phoenix Suns organization. But I love Tyus Jones. I feel like he'd be a good fit. Yeah, but I'm with you. I hope they don't go nuts with the Cat stuff. I felt like Cat got an unfair amount of hate, and that the similar. And I was talking about this at the top with the Pacers. Like, guys, sometimes a team loses, and I don't think they're fucked. You know what I mean? Like a team is going to lose, and I think that's okay sometimes. And I feel like that's where the Knicks are right now.
How bad is the basketball discourse online? Like on Twitter, I mean, I imagine it's like a lot of children doing it, but like immediately, like, you know, Halliburton, I didn't see it, but he had a bad game last night or whatever. I'm sure today he sucks and he's overrated and he's the worst. And it's like, can we not take anything in context of is it not possible? So Cat's like really getting hated on. And it's like his defense is brought up, and it's like, I get it, he's not the best defender, but like he still had a really great season. He saved their ass in game 3. Like he took over. I just think you like some of like the New York sports, and I know they do it for sound bites where like that dude from The Fan was like, he's a loser. And it's like, what are we doing here? He's a loser? That really that there's no middle ground to just like not a great defender, has flaws. Like you forget he was traded for a flawed player. This was a flawed player for a flawed player trade. Randall sulked here. He had a bad attitude. He had weird alpha dog shit with Brunson about whose team it was. Like I'm very confident that Cat was an upgrade over Julius Randle. And I know Julius Randle had he had a great playoffs for the most part, and good for him. But I do that trade 10 times out of 10. Yeah,
and it's not like Karl Anthony Towns came in as a good defender and then played bad defense. Like he did exactly what, and I would say he did better than I thought he would do, because he actually showed up a bunch in the playoffs, which normally he doesn't do. Normally he gets into weird foul trouble. I think he only did that once this entire postseason run, right?
Okay, if you want to just say like what's the whole Karl Anthony Towns package? The game, I forget which game it was against the Celtics, where Porzingis, who was a total non-factor, he just pushed him for no reason, and he picked up a quick foul, and then he got his shot blocked, I think, by Derek White, and then he pushed him, and it was 2 quick fouls, and it's like, that is the Cat experience, where you're like, man, that dude it's not even just the bad defense with him, it's just like, just doing the dumbest shit that you're like, why did you push Porzingis to pick up a quick foul? You hurt the team when you do that.
I used to work with kids, and it is the biggest like kid move I've ever seen. Where just this kid decides he's like, you know what, fuck today and fuck you, and he's just. I'm like, why? Why did you just punch that kid in the face? And he was like, well, you looked at me weird, and he's like, no, you just didn't want to do stuff today, and that's got Cat. He didn't want to play.
And what you're saying about kids, that's usually how the refs kind of regulate things. It's like someone does something, they don't call it, and then you retaliate, and then you get like the flagrant or the foul because they see it. It's like in class, like the fucking first kid does something, teacher doesn't see it, teacher turns around, and then the other kid gets in trouble, and he's like, well, he did this, and it's So I think Bridges is the one that we expected to be a great defender, right? This whole wing stop thing, and he was very hit or miss defensively. Good against the Celtics, but pretty bad against the Pistons and not great against the Pacers. The Pacers they were a mess. I guess that's my one thing. I would have liked to see that series if they won game one, what it would have looked like. Just non-collapse. Do you win in 7? Do you not? There was a path for you. But I don't know. They collapsed, and then we didn't get that. They were behind the 8 ball the entire series. And then you lose 2, forget it. 1 was bad enough, but when you lose 2 at home and it's like, it was an either or game, like you're too far, just mathematically, not even emotionally, just mathematically. Right. How are you now winning the series, losing 2 at home in that fashion?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that was like the running thing this entire postseason. Like the Clippers did it too. Like when you blow a game and now you're going to beat a team 5 times out of 7 instead of 4, it's just like what? Now the Celtics, they just eliminated their margin of error. Yeah, that was infuriating, especially because it seemed like that was the thing the Celtics had done, for a long time, and it seemed to have gotten over that hump. So then to see them do it again was just brutal to watch, especially against the Knicks team where it did really feel like the Celtics were way better than them. And it was just like, not, well, you know what? You're not if you don't beat them, And so, but you're right. The Bridges thing was wild. That's what was so weird about this Knicks team is that they, you've got a defensive minded coach in Tibbs. You have OG Anunoby and Bridges who are wing stoppers. And like, listen, OG was incredible this postseason. I thought. I am normally not the biggest OG guy. I think he disappears.
What's your issue?
I just think like he disappears a lot offensively. I think he's like I felt he was a glorified 3-and-D guy that we were just hyping up to be more. But I thought he like offensively was your most consistent guy that he seemed to hit. He bailed you out in so many possessions this postseason run.
He is inconsistent offensively though. There's no question he is. He's inconsistent offensively. That's what stops him from being a great player. He's a good player. He's very good. Defensively, I would put him as, besides Mitch Robinson, who can only go a certain amount of minutes, right. OG is like a legit, really good defender. He's like the only like plus defender on the team. But offensively, like it's just like, he's like the complaints about Jaylen Brown on the drive, I think is similar with OG. Like he's just clunky when he sometimes drives to the rim. Just his handle is not very good.
Yeah, he can only straight lines. You don't want him switching hands at any point.
But if he could, if he could just be consistent offensively, I mean, he's incredible.
And if he's like your, and this is what I thought it was going to be. It's like, well, you got Brunson and Cat both averaging 25 plus. And then it's like, well, let's just pick either one of Bridges or OG will probably score 22 tonight or something like that. Right. And that's what you thought was going to happen. And you saw flashes of it, but the offense just not being able to sync up the second half of the season and then into the postseason. But again, we're talking about this team like they were dog shit and they were a Final Four team that.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, we talked during the season. It was just like this offense is good. It's not great. And it's just what happened besides the first month of the season where it was really rolling. And also like just defensively, like their MO is like, if the offense isn't there for whatever reason, they can't win. They just can't win. And that was all season. And that's why they lost to all the good teams and the 0-14 against a good team. They just like the offense took a night off or it just wasn't good. Like they're just losing that game.
Yeah, and they showed a couple. I feel like they maybe 2 or 3 quarters of the entire postseason turned into like defensive juggernauts, and I was like, wait, where was this? Like, why you guys can do this? Like, just bring this more regularly. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they handle the offseason. I don't know. Do you have anybody that you'd be interested in coaching the team, or right now you're just like, man, like, are you hyped about the potential of Jason Kidd?
No. I think he's a career snake. I want nothing to do with that guy. I think the last thing I saw, the Mavs are not letting him go. Is that what I saw last?
The last thing I saw is
they're deny permission.
they're just talking it over. They haven't
Okay.
decided one way or the other if they're okay with it yet.
I think he
And
would be the guy if they could get him, that they would go. And I think in their mind, they're like, well, we hired Rick Brunson and it worked. We got Jalen Brunson. So I think they're trying to double dip with the coach. Like if we get Jason Kidd, oh, maybe we can get Giannis back. And I don't think the Giannis stuff, I just don't think it's realistic. They don't have picks. If they didn't do the Bridges trade and they had a wealth of picks, I'd be like, all right, Giannis wants to come to New York. You give him 1 million picks. You could do like whatever to make it work. But I just can't see it happening when you just don't have. Why would the Bucks want Cat to just be bad with Cat? It doesn't make any sense.
That's why I think all of these Giannis trades suck. I don't know why the Bucks would agree to do any of this unless it's to Houston, San Antonio, or wherever they can get their own first round picks back. Because like everybody's getting excited about Toronto, and I'm like, oh yeah, sign me up for Scotty Barnes, RJ, and like some first round picks that are going to be in the middle of the draft. Like why would they do that? I don't know. Get it.
Unless you have to. He goes, I'm leaving. I don't know. It's just the Knicks, like whatever their best trade offer is not that enticing to me if I'm Milwaukee. And I don't know. Is Giannis the type of guy that's like, I want to go to New York? He doesn't seem like it. He doesn't seem like that at all. That he's the type of guy that's going to force his hand here. But who knows? As far as coaching, I mean, I just wanted someone forward thinking that can run an offense. I have a personal bias against Kidd. I don't like. I mean, I'm sure he can come and be fine, but it's like you bring in Mike Malone. It's the same fucking shit.
Right. It's a tough Google search too, by the way.
Taylor Jenkins. Okay.
I was gonna say it's a tough Google search though if you have both Brunson and Rick Brunson and Jason Kidd on the coaching staff. That's a tough.
Oh yeah,
that's a tough Google search.
Terrible dad, shitty, has domestic abuse.
Yeah,
fucking he's gotten coaches fired. Just a career snake. Just everything he's done. Everything about him is just the guy is a total snake. That it's like
traded Luka.
Yeah, probably behind the Luka trade, and then now gets out of that, and it's like this is just not. I don't know. It's not the direction I would go. I keep Tibbs at this point if it's like this nonsense. But again, I gave him credit. I wrote to you, and I thought it was Johnny Bryant. I was like, all right, if this is a guy they truly believe in, this is a smart gamble. He's going to run an offense.
You were the first person to tell me that one too. Johnny Bryant. And then I saw it everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I go, okay, this makes sense. If Johnny Bryant's the guy, this makes sense that they believe in him. He was here. His relationship with Brunson, probably keep his dad. Just again, run a better offense, open up the rotations, like kind of you get a new voice, whatever that thing that people like to say. And I don't think I think you would be fine with him. Like no one will care if it's, if they're whatever, like 30-15 or whatever, they have a nice record and it's the middle and the offense looks better. Like no one will care. No one is going to care. But I get it. I get the optics where if it's the first time you've been to the Eastern Conference Final and it's forever, and then you fire the guy, it does look bad. And that's why I couldn't believe, because Leon Rose has done a bunch of smart things. I couldn't believe that it's like there's no plan in place. But then if it's Dolan stepping in, then that kind of that counteracts that. Then it's Dolan being like, I spoke to some players. Apparently he never really got along with Tibbs. And then it's, so be it. I always thought my prediction for Tibbs was the next year he goes. I always thought he gets one more year. I was saying this all season. I go, he'll get one more year, and then they'll kind of bounce in the second round again. And then they'll be like, we need a new voice. So it's
either that they start off like 8-11 or something like that, and then they're like, okay, see you later. I forgot about this, by the way. Mike in the chat was saying, don't forget about Kid trying to become a GM in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Career snake. Everything about this guy. Go back to the Tony Braxton stuff in the Mavericks. Just go back his whole entire life.
He sucks.
Yeah. Great player though. Undeniable. He was one of the best point guards of all time.
Yeah, I do kind of want him to move just so maybe Jared Dudley moves up to a head coaching spot. Jared Dudley, who is like one of my favorite people of all time, is an assistant there still. Met him when I was, I think we both graduated the same year. Well, I think he probably just went to the pros instead of graduating. But
same college, Boston College.
He was at Boston College. I was at this small school called Emmanuel College, but we went to the same like Thursday night dollar draft bar called Antuanua, RIP, no longer there. And I ran into him a couple of times there, and I was like a deep college basketball fan then. I loved that BC team, so I was like, "What's up, man? They really love what you're doing on the floor."
Was he cool?
Yeah, he was really cool. He was really cool, and he was really fucking tall. And it was him and oh man, who's the Craig Smith? Craig Smith, the Rhino. I think he had a little
Oh.
run there in the NBA.
Yeah.
They were big boys. They were big
The
boys.
career Rhino, unlike Jason Kidd, the career Snake.
The career Snake. I do like Taylor Jenkins. I think he's a good coach, and I do think he probably was like, get me out of Memphis by the time all things
I
were
think that's
done.
like I'd rather Taylor Jenkins than Mike Malone, but it's just it
Yeah.
doesn't excite like the Knicks. Like again, it's like years ago, Kenny Atkinson would have been a great hire, but that's not like exciting, right? Oh, Tibbs is exciting. We're gonna get this guy. So Taylor Jenkins doesn't seem like a Knicks hire. I think it would be fine. Like he was obviously did well in Memphis, but it's not like inspiring. I'd prefer just like Johnny Bryant at that point or some assistant. What about Sam Cassell? Like is someone like
dude, I think he deserves a head coaching gig. I think Sam Cassell's great. And it seems like players really like him, like he sharp. I would hate to lose him just because we've like been bleeding assistant coaches for the last couple of years, but
I think that's where my head's at.
Yeah.
I'd rather an assistant over like just a retread. Like Frank Vogel. I always liked Frank Vogel. I think he got a raw deal in LA, but I don't know. I don't want to just hire another defensive like retread.
Yeah.
I think let's do something
sense.
creative here. Let's just do something like, let's do something different.
I mean, and it's hard to say anybody would take the pressure off of being the Knicks head coach, but I do think there is something about an assistant coming in versus somebody like a Taylor Jenkins or a Michael Malone, where you kind of like, oh, they just passed the baton off. Let's go another 55+ win team or something. Where I do think it forces you to recalibrate expectations. I mean, they would still be like East favorites or up there with everybody else, but I do think it takes the pressure off a little bit. Any other Knicks related offseason stuff that we haven't hit yet?
Very little cap room. So pretty much I'm not expecting major moves. I think, like maybe like Colin Sexton or someone to just kind of get a backup point guard. I would love Chris Paul. I think you have to develop these rookies we have now. We have a late pick because our pick goes with the Bridges trade. So we have a late pick. I think it's like a 56 or something. Okay. And then I kind of think Mitch will be back too, but I wouldn't count on him. Like you can't count on him going forward. He's so good on the glass. But
he's 18 minutes. You don't want him playing.
Yeah.
You don't want him playing.
I want him as a backup. I want Hart as a backup. But yeah,
I mean, you could see it in that series. I mean, he looked gassed anytime he played more than like 24 minutes.
Right
like
away.
We were playing him like 11 minutes, the first 11 minutes of the game. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
He got 5 offensive rebounds in like the first like 5 minutes, and then he probably finished with like 1 more. He was just toast. Like you can't play him like that. And I think we have a lot of free agents like Shamit, like all those guys, Precious, like most of those guys will be gone. I think Precious is on record saying he's not going to be back, which he was a useful player. Like he got his minutes like kind of jerked around, but he would have some games where he's like dunking in traffic. Like he's kind of a butcher inside. Like he's not a great offensive player, but then he'd have games where he's just he gives you like 13 and, he plays like pretty stellar defense. It's weird. And it's ironic that Tibbs is like the defensive guy and he like didn't play Precious like that much. And Precious is like, I would say a plus defender overall.
And like last year when you guys were super short-handed, he'd come in and he was great for you.
Start at times. Yeah. I mean, so the minutes thing, like some of the stuff you can go through it. Like I think he overplayed OG and OG like got a hamstring and that kind of was the end of them. But like Randall was like kind of a freak injury and like it was late in a game to Miami. They were up big. So you can like put some blame on him. But like I do think the minutes thing is a big deal. And like he just plays these guys psycho minutes. And also like here's the thing about game one. Like what's Tibbs' thing? He's always afraid that like so he's always afraid to blow a lead. And he's on record about it. So he overplays the starters. I think game one versus Indiana, I think the starters were tired and he overplayed them. And he never took into account the human element, right? You're up 14 late. Just human nature is like, oh, we're going to win. We're up 14. There's like 4 minutes left. We're going to win. And the starters were tired. They didn't close out strong on the shooters. And Pacers did everything, but it was an all-time collapse. And I kind of put a lot of that on him too, of like, if you just adjusted, you kept Deuce and you kept Mitchell, you probably win game one, but who knows? I mean, that Halliburton shot, I mean, God, good luck ever seeing that again, a ball bouncing like
that high. That was insane. That was insane. Out of frame, bounced out of frame.
It was crazy. And then when they did it game one to the Thunder, I was like, all right, I mean, this team just does it. Bring Tibbs back.
Bring Tibbs back. Bring
His team
Tibbs
just
back.
does it. They just do it.
Denver's fine. Bring Tibbs back. That's yeah. Any other other outside of the Knicks offseason stuff you're like excited about that you're waiting for? I feel like the Giannis stuff has been overblown a little bit. I think we all get very excited about the potential, and I feel like he's just gonna end up staying. But
Mike Weisberg saying Luke Cornett would be a great fit. Are you talking about ex-Knicks great Luke Cornett?
Well, he was a 3-point shooter when he was with the Knicks, right?
That's what he was. He was more of a 3-point shooter. And then all of a sudden in that game where he turned into Bill Russell, I was like, man, he was like just kind of a 3. I always kind of liked him. As far as Sexton's too expensive, yeah, I think it puts them in bad territory. But yeah, of course, like we got to develop the guys. Anything around the league you asked me that I'm interested in. Yeah, who are the free agents? Like it's kind of like
the free agents kind of suck this year. It's like everybody that has got a player option. It's like Julius Randle, Harden.
Yeah, what does he do? What does Randle do?
Man,
does he opt out?
It's such a weird thing because I do feel like he could get more money, but we're in this weird spot where nobody has like cap flexibility. So it would have to be a team that is like ready to just drop a bag on him, because otherwise I think you just take that 31 million or whatever it is, you run it back with Minnesota one more year, try to ball out. I mean, in Minnesota, it sounds like Naz Reid is going to test free agency. And if Naz goes, I mean, they might just extend at Randall and keep him there. But because it seems like he likes playing there, which my next point about that is that I do think we all need to have another conversation about, is Anthony Edwards the greatest leader of all time? That he's made Rudy a little bit likable. He has made Julius Randle seems like he's having fun playing basketball. Best leader of all time, Anthony Edwards.
There were games Randle was legitimately like just great. And that was like,
that Golden State series was nuts.
He just, I mean, it was good shooting percentage, engaged, like just totally like just all in. I'm looking at the top free agents. Beasley probably goes back to the Pistons, right? You would think?
Yeah, I think so. I could see them. Pistons basically have to choose between Beasley and Tim Hardaway. I think
Beasley.
One of those. Yeah,
I pick Beasley. I don't even question that. Kuminga is interesting. I think he has to go. Like
that's what I thought too. Mike, Bay Area guy who was on before you, was saying that there's actually some buzz that Kuminga might stay after all, which seems insane. I don't know why he would agree to that, but I would just get yourself out of there and go actually play minutes.
They
I kind of
control his rights.
Say that again.
Control his rights. He's restricted, but like, and if a team sends an offer and it's just like, don't match, I don't like, you guys weren't playing me for half the time. Yeah, it's Julius Randle. I think Randle would opt out. I think he can make more money even if he stays there. I think he would. I think he would have to opt out because he put up in the playoffs. I mean, some of it with him, like to give him the benefit of the doubt. The Hawks series, he was dog shit as the best guy, and it just wasn't going to happen for him that series. But the Cavs series, I think he came back too early. He was terrible against Miami. Like you can make a case he came back too early and he just wasn't very good. So some of the playoff stuff might have been overblown with him.
And he shouldn't be the best guy. Like if he's not your best guy, and if he's your second or third guy, then I think it makes a ton of sense. And as long as he's mentally understands he's not the number one, I think that's probably what's nice. You like play with Anthony Edwards for a couple months, and you're like, oh, this guy's clearly better than me. Where Randall was probably looking at Brunson, and he was like, I don't know, like, is this guy better than me? And mentally,
he was there first. He was there first, and that's like a thing. And he's like, "Oh, the Knicks sucked before I got there." So like, I get it.
Yeah.
As far as him not opting out because the next year 60 teams have cap space, I don't know, man. That's like more strategy than sometimes these guys do. Sometimes they just go for the money and they go, "I just want the most money right now," and we'll see. I think he opts out, and I think he just gets his money now.
Especially if they're talking and Minnesota's like, "We'll extend you." And if
I don't think he cares, and I think he'll stay, and he had a good time.
Yeah. Let's do some, I don't know, give me an update. What's the New York urban scene looking like in the Real Athletes League? So for those that don't know, I mean, I've talked about it, but I play in this 40 and over basketball league. I waited till I turned 40 and then I jumped in. Jeff, you still play with the Real Athletes?
I'm in the under 40, but I'm over 40, so I probably should go to. I see your highlights and I'm like, I should go to the over 40. This looks like a better time. We're just in the regular. It's New York urban.
Yeah.
Which what's funny is I used to play in it when I first moved to the city when I was like 25. So I played like 25 to like 29. And then I took like a 7-year gap and then I ended up on this team. And it was interesting to see that they changed nothing, like literally nothing. It's the most bare bones league. Like every league now in the city, like they do like highlight packages. They have a social media presence. They have jerseys. Like literally they've changed. The most they've changed is their website still is like pretty like
it's like
AOL
GeoCities.
homepage,
Yeah.
GeoCities, but they at least you can see who's played everyone. Like they'll do that and they do stats, but with like your number, not like a name or anything. Like
right.
Yeah.
It is really funny how, because I similar story. I moved here. I just turned 30 when I moved here.
Yeah.
And I do you know Rob King? Do you know Rob King?
Yeah.
Comedian actor Rob King.
Yeah, he used to play in the Sunday game.
Yeah. He invited me to, they were like a guy short one time, and I joined their team and then ended up staying on. And that was when it was the real team, and it was very, very intense. And I think after that season, I was like, I'm going to take a break. And then came back this year, and you're right. They haven't changed a goddamn thing. And my neighbor plays, God, what league? It's in Bushwick, I think. And it was funny. I'd never seen anything about it until he shared something, because his team won the title and he was like the league MVP. They shared like a full mixtape for him. And I was like, whoa, that New York Urban is not in those streets. There's no mixtapes in there. There's just refs who are very sleepy.
I think they get the business. They don't need to change. Like, we've been around the longest. We're not going to change anything. So part of what I love about this league is I just fucking love to complain about it. I love to complain about it. I love to complain about the 9:15 starts. And what's funny too is my team. So our best player can't do 9 o'clock games anymore because he moved to Jersey and he's got kids and it's work early. And then I would say our second best player can't do 7 o'clock games. So it's always an issue unless we get 8 o'clock games. So our availability, we're a good team. I would say I'm the third or fourth best player, and our availability, just unless we get that perfect 8 o'clock, it's just, we just struggle. And we went 4-4 this year, and it's just because we ran one game 5, and it's like I'm 45. A lot of these teams we play are like late 20s, early 30s. So we ran 5 guys, and we lost by 1 in double overtime. And it's like,
wow, my God.
And then that kept us out of the playoffs because we finished 4-4, 5-3 would have got us in. And it's just like, dude, it was just, they did overtime, 3 minutes, and then they go, okay, double overtime is just whoever scores first.
I had just got introduced to that because we had an overtime game where they were like, 3 minutes and then first bucket after 3 minutes.
And then they got a free throw. They got fouled and got a free throw, and it was like,
that's brutal.
Yeah. So it's just our availability is just like always. It's just it's been eating us. We've never won it. We've made the finals a bunch. We've made the playoffs, and it's just, I would like to see us get a real run. And guess what? Nothing's going to change in the summer. Guys are already like, I'm going to miss half the season. I'm going to miss most of the games. So we're just like letting it rip and just like, all right, whatever. It's like injuries. It's really just like availability in a men's league is like injuries in like the real sports in like the NBA. So it's just like, it's just a killer.
Yeah, we lost 2 guys last season, which is part of the reason why we added a couple of guys this season. But it was all injury related. I started bringing like a BioFreeze stick after like the first week. I was like, I'm bringing this from now on. And then like 2 other guys on my team saw that and they were like, oh, can I borrow that? And then the next week they showed up with Bio sticks. So like we're all just kind of numbing up before the game starts at this point. But we did a really funny moment. A lot of this.
Therabody.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There
we go.
Sponsor for the podcast, Therabody. I use that on my back.
It is wild. Like, I did not expect to be in this much pain already, but that is the game now. But we had a game a couple weeks ago, and I did think of you because there was a guy on the other team, like they're high-fiving afterward, like, good games, good playing, you guys. And this guy was like, hey, listen, man, there's like 3 of you that should be playing in the other fucking league. You guys shouldn't be in here. And my initial reaction was like, oh, we're all over 40. And then I was like, you know what, though? There are people over 40 still playing in the real league. And so what hurt my feelings, though, is he was not talking about me. He was definitely talking about other guys on our team.
But you said you have some really legit players on your team, right? Some really good ones.
We have 2 dudes that have played together since they were like 13, which I learned.
Okay. They're like the Thompson twins.
Yeah. And they have plays that we're not involved in, but they like look at each other. Our point guard then does this, like one of them, the guy is the best shooter in the league. and he comes flying around, and he kind of runs behind the point guard who like just drops it between his legs, and then he just catches in rhythm and goes up with it. And they run that play like 3 times a game usually. And I don't even know what they call it. They say something. I don't know what they call it, but yeah, we are really good. We have 2 undefeated teams, and so obviously we didn't play that other undefeated team this season. So we're curious to see what that'll look like if we get to the finals.
So you were 8-0.
8-0.
And then the playoffs are, I think, next week.
Yeah, so there's a couple of teams that still have to play this week, and it actually decides who the 4th seed is going to be. The defending champs right now are on the ropes. They have to win their last game to get in as the 4th seed. Yeah. And we played them, and that was the most physical game where they were all 5'11" and taller. And I just got my ass kicked for just like down low. No matter who I covered, they were just yelling. And then somebody hit it too small at me, and I was so pissed off because I was like, dude, of course I'm too small. Like, this is bullying, dude. That's not like yeah. And then so I hit a 3 the next time down on that guy, and I was like, well, you just suck. Like, like at least I had an excuse, man.
Yeah.
But I love it, dude. I have so much fun just like once a week. Did you know that the guys that you were playing with prior, or was this like a free agent team that you've been playing with?
What happened was someone put me on this team, just a guy that I met. There's a Sunday pickup game that like a lot of comics playing.
Oh, so this is a comic team too?
I'll tell you what happened. So this Sunday game, this pickup game Sunday, which I think you get the emails. It's
I got a lot of
comics. Yeah. So that Sunday game, and that's the one that Sandler came to, by the way, because there's like some SNL people that play in it. So I met someone at that game, and he was like, "Hey, my urban team needs someone." So that's how I got back in this team. And then little by little, everyone pretty much dropped off that team. So then I just started filling it with like, Brian Booth and Joel and, Wachowski and my buddy James Hamilton. And we got this guy, John Lampley, who's really great. So basically the team shifted now to pretty much where I became the captain with this guy, Pat, who's the best player. And we just added. So it's a lot of comics and a few non-comics. And yeah, it's just super. There's just the camaraderie and just running with the same guys. And it's just way different than pickup. It's just another level. And it's just more fun playing in a league with refs and, full court than just pick up where, it's different guys every week, and which is still fun if you get the right group of guys. I mean, pick up is all with the right group of guys, and, you're not fighting and no one's calling fouls, everything. But finals, we've had some crushing ones. It's like a few years ago, we lost in the finals. We lost in the playoffs last year. That was fucking brutal by like 2. And I just want to win it one time with this group, and then I feel like I don't have to play ever again.
Well, then you graduate to the 40.
Then I go to the over 40, because the over 40 is, you're saying one division.
It's one division, and this year we only had 8 teams last season, and we had like 12, I think, this season. They added like 4 teams.
Wow. So it's because the normal one is I think 14 divisions. We're in 7, so we're right in the middle.
Okay.
We're in 7 out of 14. So
do they do like relegation? Like if you win your division, do you move up?
It's pretty fluid, man. Yeah. Teams move up and down all the time with like, just like you lose guys, you move down, I think if you're like 1 in 7, they'll shift you down, because it's like, well, so I think that the divisions are pretty fluid. I think the most I ever did in my day, I think I played Division 2 in like when I was 26, but that was a long time ago. I was 26. I was fucking nasty at 26. I was really good. And B, I think it was weaker back then. I'd imagine it's way better now. There's just more talent. There's more teams. So Division 2 now, back then was probably like Division 4 now. I'd imagine. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like an inflation thing. I bet that like 2 it wasn't as strong as it is now. With like more people playing in it.
I really thought I was going to go into the 40 and over and just
dominate.
Cook. Like I thought I was going to dominate.
What do you do? You're hitting shots.
Yeah, I mean, why? And I mean, I like numbers wise, it looked like I did really well last season. But if I'm on a good team, I should not be like your top scoring guy. But I was really impressed, just like with the amount of talent. Like it is really, I would say most of the teams of the 14, I would say like like three or four of them, very, very good. And then
Yeah.
everybody's still pretty good. And then there's like 2 teams in there that are like just getting some exercise in, or it's their first time playing as a team.
Yeah.
And that's like you brought that up. That is another thing that like really sticks out, where you play a team that's played together for like 9 straight seasons and everybody's just moving so well without the ball. And then you play a team that just got put together and they're not yet. So that's like the biggest difference in it.
I always tell my guys it's the same game as like the pros. It's just they're doing it at a much higher level. Like the same elements of like teams like not playing together, too much one-on-one ball, too much like collapses happen at any level.
Yeah.
Right. You collapse at any level. It's like it's not a thing that stops when you get to the pros or in college and you're playing at a high level. Like it's the same elements of like chemistry, like everyone buying into the roles. It is the same game. It's just played at a higher level, but it's the same elements.
Yeah, we've almost had like 4 Celtics-esque collapse in our 8 wins, where we're up like 20 with 5 minutes to go, and then it ends up being like a 4-6 point game, something like that. So I'm sure that's going to come back and bite us in the playoffs. But
now you guys are going to win it this year. You guys will win it, and we'll win it over the summer with our Bare Bones crew, and
there you go.
But it's I shouldn't be the best player either. If I'm the best player, we're not going anywhere. But if I'm like the third, I mean, I could still cook. I had, I think, my career high over the summer last year. It was a 43. I just went. I was just red hot. I mean, I can't.
You put up 43,
dude. Yeah, I put up 43. Just went nuts. Just went nuts. It was like I think I had like 30 at halftime, where it's just nuts. But
like,
normally I'm averaging like 17.
Yeah,
18,
that's still pretty good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a really good 17.
I think people get surprised. People get surprised that I'm because I'm a shooter. So there's going to be nights where I just, I think we've only played together once in the Big Wachowski a few summers ago.
You had added me to that Astoria. They played down like in
that time.
And I did that a couple of times, but
nobody.
No, sorry. Patrick in the chat said, "Did you hold a piece of paper up in the locker room with 43 on it?" That died, but yeah, with the Big Wachowski, for those that don't know, nobody knows, is a 3-on-3 tournament that our buddy Joel runs. Yeah, maybe they do every year. That is really legit.
So
it's
fun. I'm coming back this summer. I've missed the last 3 because like I got married one year, we were away, and this year we are going. Like my wife is a travel writer. We're going away. Like we do a trip every year around that time, like for like the anniversary. But I made sure. Literally cleared it because I've missed the past 3 ones, and it was it was kind of getting a little thing with the date, and I was like, nope, that's Saturday. I need. So we're going Monday. We're going away.
I'm coming out of retirement for it this year too.
Dude, there's a draft and everything, and it's like,
So for Jeff and I Joel drafted us, right? Joel was our captain, and so it was me, you, and Mike Bramante.
Yeah.
And I was playing on I think a partially torn rotator cuff.
I remember.
And Justin Keshins brings us up every once in a while because Justin was like, I didn't, because we lost in the finals. We made it all the way to the finals, and I think it was a semifinal game. And Justin was like, I saw you check in and then play like a fucking maniac for about 2.5 minutes and then take yourself out. And I was like, I was like, Jeff and Mike were doing all of the shooting, and I would come in like hockey shifts and just run around as fast as I could and then sub myself out.
We had a good team. I mean, we got blitzed in the finals because I remember we won the semifinal. We were so excited. And then we just started it up and we got blitzed by my boy, Brian Booth, who won it 3 years in a row. And he plays on my urban team. He's very good.
And he's very good.
He plays point for us. We have a big point guard.
Yeah. And I mean, I also think he's like a point guard with Sabonis game. Like he would get down in the paint and just kind of like drop step, jump, like little midi. And he was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? Like, come on, Joel.
Yeah.
Oh man, but this is great, Jeff. I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a little last minute, so thanks for being down. I know we plugged the special at the top with Amazon, and you can catch it on Amazon.
It's on Amazon and Apple.
And Apple.
It's called Live at the Bomb Shelter.
Hell yeah. What else? Anything else we got going on these days?
Yeah, I'm doing a documentary podcast called The Podcumentary. I do with my buddy Barry Rothbart, who we made a film. Actually, the posters in the background there called Hungry, which was on competitive eating. It was a documentary that came out in like 2014. It was on Hulu for a few years, and we love documentaries. And we're like, you know what? no one's doing a documentary podcast, so we've been doing that. It's very nerdy specific. We talk to directors. We get like really into the process of like making a documentary and like, you know, just like what went into it and how did you get this off the ground. And it's called the Podcumentary. And yeah.
I check anytime you guys are talking about something that I've like recently watched. I always like, and what I will do now too is if I find a documentary, I will then go definitely look at the episodes. I'm like, did they talk about this one?
We've done a bunch of sports one. We did Court of Gold. We did, if you want to come on talk, it's next sports doc one because you're
hell yeah.
I didn't watch the Celtics one. I was like, am I gonna watch it? And we were gonna maybe cover it and then we didn't. But did you love it?
I got to tell you, I really did. And I started off kind of bored, not bored, but they like the first 2 episodes. I mean, it was great. They were just talking about like Kuzi and Bill Russell. And I think as somebody who has been a lifelong Celtics fan and knows and has heard this story so many times, I was kind of like, oh, a lot of this I know. I thought like when they talked about some of the racial injustices that were happening in Boston at the time, and so like they were talking to some city leaders at that time, I was like, okay, this is new stuff that I haven't heard like this perspective from in a sports doc. Then it started getting to like Reggie Lewis was my guy when I was a kid, and he was my favorite player. And that was like the first, like being a kid, the first person I ever like knew of that died was Reggie Lewis, which is always like a weird thing.
That's very interesting because it's like, there's someone that like for me it was a teacher, it was an art teacher. It was like, what do you mean? I was like 10. I was like, what do you mean he's not coming back? Yeah, that is going to stick with you.
So so the Reggie stuff was really good, but then man, the KG stuff is awesome because like he's just a really good interview. Also, Robert Parrish, sneaky, like should be a media guy.
Oh, interesting.
He's so funny. I did not see that coming. Like very charismatic because I always remember him as kind of like the quiet guy on the Celtics. But again, maybe that was just Boston racism coming through.
There could have. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No. I was gonna pivot here for a second because I thought of something. But go ahead.
I was gonna say my mom. So my mom's from Queens. She went to the same high school as Bob Cousy, not at the same time. So she was actually a Celtics fan because of that.
Wow.
Early on, she was a Celtics fan, but then she pivoted to Knicks. And, I became a Knicks fan when I was a kid. But, like, there's a scenario where my mom doesn't drop the Celtics because of Kuzi. And then imagine I was a Celtics fan growing up in New York. But
thank you. You're probably just, like, happier, I think.
I would have seen a bunch of championships. But,
I don't know if I've told you this or if we've talked about it. And forgive me if we have. But you mentioned the competitive eating doc that you said that was 2014 you did that. My sister was a competitive eater.
Who?
For a short period. Her name was Molly Zakarian. She wasn't like high up there.
She ran? Was she with MLA?
I don't think so, but she did a couple of like legit
so cool.
things. She did it was a St. Patrick's Day challenge that happened in Boston with all of like the legit it was like a corned beef and cabbage one or something like that. And it was like she was on ESPN for it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I have so much love for it because it was like the first doc I made. And it's on YouTube now. I just put it on my YouTube for free because it ran its course. It's an old movie now. But like just that world, we were so in that world. And then at one point we were doing eating contests because we thought we didn't know what the story was. And that's like what I love about making a documentary. The world has changed and now it's like it's a big business. You got to have it all figured out at the start if you're going to be on Netflix or whatever. But this was just us like filming shit and just we're like, well, maybe we'll be in it. So we did a bunch of hot dog eating contests. We did one in my apartment. I did a qualifier. And it's hard. It's very hard to do. And I got better because it's like, you know what I compared it to? Okay. You ever do mini basketball?
Oh yeah.
So you do mini basketball. You're not really supposed to look at the balls.
No,
you got to just have the flow.
Yeah.
And you got to, so like with the hot dogs, it's just this flow of you have to turn it into mush and just get it down. And it's just mush and just, So I got better. I did it like 4 or 5 times and I got better, but it's just very hard. Does your sister still do it or?
No, she did it for,
that's so cool.
I want to say she did it for a couple of years. It was like it must have been right around when she finished college, but it was like right around that time. I think it was like, cause the only reason I like it triggers the memory of ESPN is I did the World Series of Poker back when I was in like a senior in college.
Oh, very cool.
And like went pretty far in it and got on ESPN for like a hot second because I was next to the lead singer of Godsmack. And then like a year later, my sister was on ESPN. And then so my parents used to give my brother shit being like, dude, when are you getting on ESPN, dude?
Did he get on?
No, not yet. And so, anyways,
Maybe
that
he got
was
on
like
the.
right.
Can he get on the Ocho?
He might be able to get on the Ocho. He's big. He can still. He's a hooper too. He's actually probably the best baller in the family. And he was like a big wiffle ball guy for a while, so maybe that's his path. But anyways, yeah, she did like a couple of events around that, and I remember the corned beef and cabbage one because I think it like Kobayashi was there for it.
Sure. That's what the doc was about. The year that he got arrested, and it followed him like a year. Like, what's he gonna do? And then he does his own contest. And totally, ESPN like just did our doc years later. It's so funny. We like they wouldn't like really give us like footage, like archival footage. We like pitched to them when it was done. They had no interest. Like, no, this is bad. No. And then like 5 years later, like, we'll just do our own. We'll just do our own version of it. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Tilting.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, everybody go check that out. Jeff, thanks for doing this, dude. This was a blast, man.
It's the best.
This was a lot of fun. And then I'll look forward to seeing you in the 40 and over and over league when you get here. For everybody else, I'll have Jeff's links in the show notes. You can go check that out. And we'll be back. I think, what do we say? On Wednesday, we'll be back. And then I think I got a new episode of Hoop Sense either coming up later tonight or at some point tomorrow. And then game 3 on Wednesday. So appreciate everybody hanging. Yeah.